A playlist original.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Back to the Blockbuster Presents Deep Dives with Owen and Gaius, episode 12, and a little delayed, but we're
Wow.
sorry.
12. 12.
12, yeah.
That's crazy because
Guys,
like 12 weeks for us, 12 episodes for us is 24 weeks, but actually it's longer.
it's
Actually been
longer.
longer than
It's been longer. And full disclosure, guys, we actually had an episode 12 that we recorded a week before we recorded the 100th episode of the main Back to the Blockbuster show. And I won't say what it was because probably going to use it. But it was fun and it was good. And
we
were
had
very
some serious technical issues.
issues.
And,
Yeah.
and we will describe it when we record the when we actually release it. But
Yeah.
we had some issues, and that is why we've been gone. And
Yeah.
it is not because we're done. It's not because we're canceling the show. So I promise we're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, we got
but I'm telling you, this was a great episode, a great pick. And so you guys will be getting it soon, but at an undisclosed time. I will tell you that.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think when we were talking about like, hey, we should re-record it, there was like I think the issue of like it being so close to when we did it already. Like, could we like kind of recapture what that was? Like, I don't know if you guys are ever if you ever like pay attention to reality TV, they will have if they know that cast members have discussions off camera that they think are important, they will make them have those conversations again on
But
camera.
recreated on camera.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's very unnatural because they've already had the conversation already, and you can tell that they're just like, "Oh yeah, like oh yeah, that thing that happened yesterday. Oh yeah," it's just very not.
There's no reaction. There's no
Yeah,
like
right.
legitimate reaction.
So there was a possible chance like if we re-recorded it so soon after doing it, it might have felt that way. I mean, I don't necessarily know if that's the case, but it could have very well happened. So it's probably good that we are gonna hold it and use it again at a later date. But it was a fun one. I'm really bummed that we lost it. But I mean, we're pros at this now. I think we could recreate it down the line and it'll be good in
So
a different way.
here's my thought. Here's my thought is that what we're gonna do is watch the movie and together,
Okay.
and then I think we should record it together,
All right.
and then
There we
have
go.
our first lost live episode.
So there we go. That is a good idea. So, you know, that little technical difficulty might turn into a future episode magic. So,
It's because we're marketing geniuses. That's why. That's
yeah,
absolutely why.
yeah, we've become so good at it. But yeah, and I actually appreciate. I got a lot of messages from people who I don't normally listen, and they were like wondering what happened. But then I got a message from the Reanimator 211, who actually I've never talked to until they sent me the message I actually sent you, um, basically asking, you know, like, you know, where the deep dive's been, like it's their favorite part of the show, and they were wondering if we stopped doing it because it. I mean, I didn't realize it, but we recorded our last one on your birthday, so that was May 15th, and then it came out
That's
on
right.
May 18th. So it's been a month.
Mhm.
But yes, thank you for listening and paying attention that there hadn't been a new deep dive episode in a month. But just know the deep dives are not going anywhere. We love doing them. They're really fun. There's a lot of movies to discover for the first time or rediscover in some cases. And I mean, it's kind of like an endless supply of them. So we love doing it. We're not going to stop it. And if there's any interruption in the schedule in the future, we will make sure to let you guys know that for whatever reason something's not coming out that week, but we will do our best, and thank you for paying attention. But today's episode should be really good too, and pretty excited for it.
Yeah.
Since I will say that the pick that we recorded was mine, but when I was like, hey, we'll just pick this up on this Monday and we'll just kind of skip over to you, and you had no problem with that. So I mean,
Well,
great.
hey, listen. I will tell you this: the last pick was Jackson's pick, so technically,
That's
I
true.
didn't even pick last recently.
You
So we're
relinquished it to
still.
him. I
I
forgot.
still think technically this is no one got skipped over. We're good,
Right.
and we already know that yours is going to be actually a special episode, which I think is going
Yeah.
to be really important. And I just want to also just say the exact same thing that Gase is saying, is that the fact that you guys are reaching out and letting us know that you're looking for more episodes and continuing to reach out. It just means the world to us, because it knows we know that you're listening. So
Yeah.
it just makes us even more motivated to continue to create the content. So here it is.
Yeah, exactly. And I know there were a lot of people that messaged me. They were like, "Well, you guys are really busy with that 100, so maybe that's why." And I was like, "I wish it was that." I mean, I was like, we were still busy doing both. Like, we recorded the deep dive a week before that. It was like on schedule. Really, it's just
Yeah.
sometimes
We
can't
did it. I'm telling you, we put the
did
work
it.
in. It just
We
didn't
did.
work. For
Uh,
somehow it didn't work.
Sometimes technology is a bitch, and there's nothing you can do about it. um,
It's so
that's
funny.
what.
I was talking about it. It reminds me of this Louis C.K. quote where he's talking about technology, and he's like, "I'm sitting on a plane, and some guy is bitching to the flight attendant about how the Wi-Fi on the plane while he's flying through the sky across the country is
It's
slow."
not working. Yeah.
He's like, you guys just need to relax a little bit. So I think
Yeah.
sometimes we just kind of take it for granted a little bit, and sometimes it doesn't work out. But at the end of the day, we just got to make sure that we're working to make sure that it works out for everybody.
Yep. And now, lesson learned. So now there are backups on backups on backups. So just in case, I record on different things now, just in case something like that happens again where we could lose parts of audio and all that stuff. So
Exactly.
that's how we should have been doing it. And you would think, after like a year and some change and 100 episodes of that other show, that we probably should have been recording backups
We're
of it.
still learning. We're still
But
learning.
yeah, it's still a learning curve. And like, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I was right away. Someone messaged me and they're like, "Oh, you always have to record a backup." I was like, "Oh, I know now." And this has happened before too. And I was like, didn't
It only
learn
took
then.
100 episodes to realize that. It only took
Yeah,
100.
only 100. That like, hey, maybe you should have a backup plan in
Oh,
case
yes.
something shits the bed. So
Well,
now we do.
I also will say, man, like this is the first episode out of the last two that has just been with me and you. So it's like
Yeah,
I know that like we love guests and we love having people on. We love sharing our experience with everybody else, but
yeah.
it does feel nice to kind of just get back to
It
the
hits a
banter,
little.
man. To
It
just me
hits a
and you.
little
It,
different.
it,
It
it
hits a
feels
little different.
familiar and I love it.
Yeah, it hits a little different. I mean, like I said, it's a different energy when I'm doing this with you, and a different energy when I'm doing this with Jackson. And it's great to have all three of us together, or even have guests. Like we had our Can't Hardly Wait episode come out today, and Mark is a great guest. I listened to that episode today. I I think it's one of the best ones we've done. It was
Oh,
so fast.
amazing.
It was so fast and funny, and it just helped that you have different energy on with you, but it always is good to go back to basics and because you can only you banter a certain way with someone you really know, and so I'm glad that we can kind of get back to this a little bit with a good pick by you. But before we kind of get into what you chose, have you been watching anything? What have you been up to? And I mean, I kind of know what you've been up to, but listeners, tell them what you've been up to since we last saw you
Yeah.
and heard you.
Yeah. So I actually was on a pretty big sort of like violent war movie sort of like dig these last couple weekends. So I watched The Hurt Locker, which is one of my
Great movie.
favorites. I just absolutely love. It's funny. I'm starting to change the way that I speak about specific actors because I'm always like, Jeremy Renner is not my favorite sometimes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe it's because it's like his version of Hawkeye's not my favorite, but like Arrival, my favorite movie of all time. Amazing. Hurt Locker, one of my favorite movies. And like
Yeah.
he's the lead in pretty
And
much both of those.
it's both of those.
So it's like I think that Jeremy Renner is just like a fantastic actor. Is able to change his personality to become whoever he needs to be in this role. Just fantastic. So I watched The Hurt Locker, and then I watched Hell or High Water,
That's a good movie too.
which is a great movie, and I'd never seen it before. So that was a first
Really
watch
good.
for me. I'm telling you, man, whoever the costume designer is for that movie deserves some recognition. Like they turned Chris Pine. I couldn't even recognize his voice. It was so
Yeah.
West Texan. It was so good. And they made him look grungy, and they made him look poor, and then they made him look established. And it was fantastic the way that they did that. And what was his Ben? What's his last name?
Foster and
Ben
Foster.
Foster. My God, man.
He's a chameleon of an actor, dude, and
Oh my God.
I think he kind of, and he's the one that doesn't annoy me because we know we talked about method acting. I think he is one, but his approach to it doesn't annoy me as much as some others. I don't think he is as in your face about it, but he is known to like really get into the
I will
roles that
say,
he
if you're
plays.
method acting and you're on location in West Texas and you're staying in a trailer, that sounds pretty normal to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
right.
I'm pretty sure like that,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty realistic to me.
Yeah, not
So
much
I don't
to
think you
change
really
there.
even need to method act at that point.
Yeah,
You're just living life.
you're just living it. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So, but I mean, gosh, that the whole story is fantastic. And like I'm telling, like I teared up when, um, gosh, the deputy or the highway patrol, or I can't remember what the marshal,
Well,
his partner died, man.
yeah.
Just like sorry to spoiler alert out there, but sniper bullet to the
It's
head.
been out. It's been out a few years ago.
Yeah,
You're
and
good.
like and like I mean, it's one of those kind of a cliche sort of thing where you're having a conversation with your partner and you ask them a question or you tell them something as they die, and then you kind of look around and realize that
Yeah.
what's happening. But that was a heart-wrenching moment, man, and that
Yeah.
really just I immediately got
gut-
just
it's a-
like
it's a
filled
gut-
with
it's a gut-
filled with emotion
It's a
because
gut punch for sure.
and the thing is, like, I literally called it halfway through the movie. I was like, you know what? Two people are gonna die. It's
Yeah.
gonna be Chris Pine's brother, and it's gonna be fucking Jeff Bridges' partner. And I know that. I could
Yeah, I
just
called
see
it.
it. I could see it. But it's just such an amazing story. Fantastic. And then I decided to reel it in with a really heartwarming and fun family friendly movie with Sicario. At the end of
Trifecta.
it. So
Family.
I watched that one as well, and like God, Benicio del Toro, man, that might be
He's
one
so
of my
good in
favorite
that.
performances of his maybe ever, and like it just
Emily Blunt,
continues
too.
my love for Josh Brolin,
Yeah.
and like my God, do they just
So
show
good.
when you have political and sort of like executive authority, you can
Yeah.
do whatever the fuck you want. Like one of my favorite lines is like, I mean, I watched it a couple days ago, so it's like
Fresher, man.
when when Emily Blunt gets back and Josh Brolin's like, so what do you think? She's like, that was fucking illegal. Like you just murdered citizens
Yeah.
in broad daylight, and it's not even gonna make the paper. Like
Yeah.
like how is that even possible? So gosh, there's just such a really gut wrenching like that. That's a crazy movie. So I had a lot of very good family fun in my movie watching
Yeah, I could tell.
recently. Yeah. So
Um,
gosh, I've been in a weird mood of just like looking for
No, they're all good movies.
which is kind of what inspires this pick, honestly, to be honest.
Yeah, they are. They're all very good movies too. I'm going to say this because we've talked about the Jeremy Renner thing before, and I've always been like justice for Hawkeye because I actually think Hawkeye is a good character, and he doesn't have powers or anything. Like I think
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about him. It's all like skill, like natural skill. But I feel like Jeremy Renner didn't even get his own solo movie. He got a show, but like he's always feel like he's been like a little backseat in those movies. Other than Age of Ultron, I mean, they gave him like
his first appearance was the butt of the joke as the guy who gets hypnotized.
yeah, in Avengers, they take him out for like most of the movie, and
Yeah.
he's pretty much there for the climax. And then he was introduced, so we knew who he was in a cameo scene in Thor. It was like really short. The most I think we get of him in those movies is Age of Ultron, where we find out he has family and all that. But good actor though, because if you think about the other stuff, like you said, the Hurt Locker. I mean, The Town is great. He's great in that.
Oh,
and
dude, yeah, just like maybe it was Hawkeye that ruined it for me, man, because
Yeah.
like he is so fantastic in everything, and I still haven't seen Mayor of Kingstown, which
I heard it's good. I
definitely-
haven't watched it yet, but I heard it's really good.
amazing. So like,
I mean, he got 2 Oscar nominations 2 years in a row.
he's
got,
also
he did
amazing
the
in American
Hustle. Yeah. So yeah. And it seems
Oh,
like
sorry, what
he
were you
is.
saying? Yeah.
No, it seems like he's like getting like on the mend too, considering like how bad his accident was. So I could see him I know that he hinted at that show getting another season, so hopefully we'll get to see him working again soon. I don't know if he'll be doing the action stuff so much anymore. He actually said like, I won't mind doing it, but that's what we have stuntmen for. And he's like, I'm at an age now where I don't need to do all this shit myself, so I'll do all the acting, and we can get all the young kids in to like do all the dangerous stuff. And but considering how bad his accident was in January, he's made like incredible strides since then.
Yeah.
It's crazy how he's very lucky to be alive, but in the end, a really inspirational.
He's a
story
real hero.
Oh, yeah.
He's
Yeah,
like
I
a
mean,
legitimate hero.
they kind of joked that because the original Avengers,
Hawkeye is an actual hero. Like,
Yeah,
out of all of the goddamn
out of all of them-
superheroes to do something,
Well,
fucking
like,
Hawkeye.
all the original Avengers are in a group chat together, and they basically, after this all kind of, once they realized he was fine, they all basically joke like, yeah, you are the real hero of the group, like within the group chat. So I think that was kind of cool and nice, and it's a lot of good came out of that situation, considering how bad it could have been,
How messed up it actually was. Yeah.
yeah. As far as my watches weren't that much more pleasant in terms of
are we in a dark phase?
I guess so.
Like, what's going on with us?
Randomly I watched End to Watch the other night.
Oh, dude,
I
also brutal. Also,
I haven't seen it in so
brutal.
long, but it's so well done, and I every time I get towards
who
the end of the movie,
that? Who directed that? Because I need to see the next thing that he did.
I need to look. I need to look that up.
Hold on, I got you.
But yeah, like such a well done.
David Ayer.
Yeah, and the style of it. I mean, it's kind of done in the whole like found footage.
Oh,
kind of
and then
format.
he did this, and then he did Suicide Squad. So
he did right after that. Oh.
No,
well,
I mean he did Fury next.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Which is fine, and then he did the shitty Suicide Squad.
Well, you can't win them all, David Ayer, but like with this one,
so he did that. He also did. Gosh, he loves Will Smith. He did Bright, so like that Netflix sort of fantasy movie.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a disaster. Tax Collector, which with Shia LaBeouf, which I actually haven't seen. It's been
that's
popping
the one
up on my recommended, which I might check it out.
I haven't watched it, but I remember Shia LaBeouf got fully into that character because he's all like tatted up and full on Shia LaBeouf being Shia LaBeouf.
the poster is two dudes with AK-47s and a girl in a bra and panties. So like
there you go.
I think I kind of know what movie I'm getting into when I click that.
But I forgot how strong the movie is, and by the end of it, so he really loves this kind of gritty. Apparently loves stories about cops too. So there you go.
Cops and death. Yeah,
cops and death. But it holds up really well. The ending of that movie is still a gut punch for me too. I always forget like, oh yep, that's happening. And you get Anna Kendrick for good measure, just because she's not in it a lot, but she's there.
I'll tell you, it's one of the ones that just feels insanely real. Like the friendships seem real, the dialogue seems flawless and just like very fluid. It's just a really realistic story, I feel like. And I mean not necessarily in a sense where you're battling cartels, like that's not like an everyday necessarily like a thing that every single LA cop goes through, but I mean there's a cool tidbit from that, is that when they were filming a scene, there was an actual cop helicopter that flew over, and Jake Gyllenhaal was doing the hand gestures from the ground to tell them that everything's fine.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Which I actually thought was pretty cool, because I mean,
shooting a movie.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is like, I'm gonna be this character no matter what. So like, it was kind of cool to. But I thought that was kind of a cool little fact.
We'll see, but and it holds up really well too. And I think.
We live in LA, so it definitely still
holds up well. And not to get too deep into it, but what I kind of took from it again after watching it is, whatever people want to say about the police and all that, there are some very good police officers, and I think that movie shows the very deadly day-to-day stuff that they put themselves through, and gives you a lot of respect for it too, a bit. I think
also all the different things they see. It's not just like, oh, you're not just pulling over people for speeding. You're not just doing X and Y. Like there's a lot of different calls that you get, and you can walk into something that is way deeper than you might think that might turn into something else.
Agreed. So then I watched that, then I had to watch Jurassic Park, which when I crashed to your house, that was funny when we were going back and forth. They're like, what do you have to do today? I was like, oh, I have to watch Jurassic Park. And you're like, oh, you have to watch Jurassic Park? I was like, yeah, I have to watch it for the podcast. You're like, oh, I'm so sorry. So yeah, I watched that again, and I mean, we did a whole episode on it. That still holds up 30 years later. It's a classic, and it's really good. And then of course, can't hardly wait to watch that again. That was an interesting one to relive with Jackson because he had never seen it, and we realized when we were recording it, he was like, yeah, because it came out on June 12th, 1998, and he just had his birthday over the weekend. So it came out like 5 days before he was born, and Mark was like, oh my god, you weren't even like, you were still in your mother's womb when this movie came out. But he really, I think it's interesting when it, of course he didn't grow up with it, but he really enjoyed it too. Like, it's, even though it's not like his high school movie, there's a lot that he really liked about it. So it's always interesting to kind of bring those movies back to like a different generation.
I do think that there are some scenes in those sort of early, like maybe even late 90s sort of teen movies where it's like aggressive drunk guys being very like suggestive in parties, and it's like, gosh, like that, like the thing is, like, it's very realistic, but showing that on screen nowadays is taboo.
Sure. We addressed some of that movie. I love Can't Hardly Wait, but some of it's a little problematic now. I don't think you could get away with some of the things that they were doing, and it was PG-13. I'm surprised that they could say and do some of the things they did in that, and they actually fought for an R rating too. They really wanted one.
They wanted it to be R.
They wanted, because, well, they did, and they wanted to kind of make it a little bit raunchier, and the studio was like, no, that doesn't make money. And then they said they watched a year later, American Pie came out, and it made money, and they were like, okay, well, they do. They totally can make money. But there's some, like, the N word is said in Can't Hardly Wait by a white dude. I mean, it's by this white guys who think they're black, and it's funny in the moment, but I was like, how did that get through without them being like, oh yeah, maybe you shouldn't say that.
Dude, it's happened in the movie that I picked today.
Yeah, I mean, like, so I was surprised, but
this was later. This was later. I think it honestly does just kind of speak to, especially nowadays, in like later, like late 2000s, or not late 2000s, but like the mid 20 teens. I don't even know what the term for that is. Yeah, 20 knots. I don't know. But like, it just kind of speaks to the, I don't want to say intelligence of the person, but it kind of just shows like where they kind of come from and like who they think they really are.
Yeah, I think it's interesting too, because Mark made a good point, and I think he was right. He was saying that, like, yeah, we grew up with these late 90s, early 2000s movies, and they were so much fun, and we enjoyed them. But he said it during the episode, he's like, what you realize is that they wrote these kind of young adult characters to be, like, so mean to each other, like calling people bitches, like using the F word, using the N word. Like, that was just like, it felt like so commonplace.
It was cool
in those movies. Yeah, in those movies. And like, he was like, I'm glad that we've kind of got away from that a little bit, where it's not so much like, don't throw that word in there unless it does something to move the plot along. Unless this like character,
unless you're Tarantino and you're making Django, I guess. Like, honestly, like I hate to say it like that, but
like, you know what? If you're American History X, that makes sense. So that's the story you're trying to tell. Yeah, and I get it.
Which I actually also watched recently.
I just that movie's having I gotta put that has an anniversary coming up. I want to do an episode on that because I haven't watched it. Yeah, I haven't watched it in forever.
I'd love to be on it because I just saw it for the first time. Like
the first time?
Ago.
My mom can't get through all of it. She's like, I acknowledge that it's probably a good movie, but it was rough. She couldn't finish it. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense and stuff like that. But when it's like a teen comedy and they're just dropping certain words for no reason, like that. And you don't notice it then. Like, I mean, of course, in 1998, I wasn't paying attention to like, oh, that they probably shouldn't say that. I'm just watching it, for entertainment. But with like a different color lens on now when you're an adult and watching these 100%. Things, it's completely different. And then the other thing I watched, they did a Robert Englund documentary that they put on this streaming service called Screenbox about Robert Englund's career. And Robert Englund, of course, for everyone that doesn't know, he played Freddy Krueger in 7 Nightmare on Elm Streets plus Freddy versus Jason. And it's a really good documentary. I mean, like, he is actually he's a trained actor. So he is actually a very good actor. And like, they were talking about when a Nightmare on Elm Street, it was just another job really for him. And in most cases with like those kind of villains in horror movies, like the Michael Myerses and Jasons and all that, they would hire like a stuntman to like play that part because there's not much acting that's involved. Um,
You stand there
that,
stiff, straight faced,
right, but in
and
the
just kind of
case
walk.
but in the case of Freddy Krueger, he speaks and there's a personality, and down the line they made that character kind of like a quippy, kind of jokey kind of character. But in those first three movies, he's a pretty sadistic, really scary character, and all that personality came from Robert Englund. And after that first movie, they were said made a lot of money. They were like, well, for the second one, they were like, we don't need him again. We can just hire a stuntman, and they actually use a stuntman in one scene. And they watched the dailies back, and they were like, that guy moves weird. He doesn't even move like him. It's not even just like there's a personality even in the walk, and not just what stuff that he says. So they realized then, like, all right, Robert Englund is this guy. And by the time they get to
There's
the
a whole
third
persona.
one,
It's not just the voice. It's not just the look.
right, exactly. And by the time they get to the third one, the character in that franchise, of all the granddaddy of the franchises back then, like Halloween and Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street took off in a huge way in the 80s because it kind of caught on right when like the MTV generation was really big, and it really tapped into marketing to younger people on that level. So Robert Englund was a rock star in the 80s. I mean, playing that character. And they asked him if he had any issues with, because he was a real actor and like doing what most people would call like real movies, real TV shows, until he got to this. Like, if he ever felt like he was dumbing himself down, or if he had to, if he felt like kind of trap playing Freddy Krueger, and he said he didn't. He was like, it gave him a even bigger career.
He was an icon.
Yeah, people know who he is, and to this day, I mean, he can go to horror movie conventions and sell out crowds. Apparently, he is individually nice to everyone that gets in his line. They said that he makes them feel like they're the only person there every time that like someone comes up and signs something. He's very proud of that legacy. I think the one kind of sad thing, I guess not sad, because I mean, he's in his 70s now. It got brought up about whether or not he could play him anymore, and he honestly was like, I am older now, I can't do the stunts anymore. I think the last time he played him was in Freddy versus Jason, and that was 20 years ago in August. So he was like, I think we can kind of pass on to someone else. Now, then they brought up the remake where they did try to do that, and no one liked it. And I mean, he's so associated with that part.
It's like, sorry, like...
yeah. I mean, he's so associated with the role. Like, it will be hard for anyone, I think, to play it, and do it justice.
It's also like the look. Like, you have to find someone even to do the prosthetics over to kind of look pretty similar to him. So it's like,
right,
regardless of whether or not he can even act in a similar sense, you have to even find someone who kind of looks like him, and then be like, hey, study the film. It's like football. Right. It's like study this, act like this, talk like this, walk like this. Like, you really have to kind of train them in order to be similar to the character that people fell in love with for a decade and a half.
Yeah, and one interesting thing too, because Wes Craven, of course, wrote A Nightmare on Elm Street. But after a certain point, because Wes Craven, he only did a story treatment for the third one, and then he came back years later and did Wes Craven's New Nightmare because he wanted to kind of make Freddy scary again. Because by the time you get to the fourth, fifth, and sixth ones, Freddy's not scary anymore. He's such a larger than life character now that they make him funny. He's less scary. He has one-liners. It's like, that's what it turned into. But Wes Craven did feel some kind of way that he lost that character a bit, and it became Robert Englund's character. Like, after a while, it was Wes Craven didn't love the direction the character went in, but Robert Englund, it worked out very well for him. I mean, in the 80s, he had the movies. They had a TV show called Freddy's Nightmares that he was on. You could actually call a 1-900 number and talk to Freddy Krueger. That's how big this thing was in the 80s. He was in music videos. He made talk show appearances.
This is like when Netflix and Hulu weren't around, when you had to call a number to be like, hey, I need to get entertained.
And I know, right? But like, he was really, I mean, out of all of them, because he had a personality. I love Halloween. I think Friday the 13th is fun. I think as Nightmare on Elm Street as a whole franchise, maybe not just individual movies, but as a whole, probably is like the better of the three as far as quality, in terms of, especially what those first three movies did, and that last one that Wes Craven did. But yeah, I mean, Robert Englund seems very happy with his legacy, and I thought that was really cool how they wrapped it up. He's very, he's proud of the stuff he's done in that franchise. Outside of it, it gave him a career in a really big way, and everyone knows who he is. Little kids know who Freddy Krueger is. So
Yeah.
like it's like, and no matter what generation you're from. So a really good watch if you're a horror movie fan. It was like a really good look at his career and kind of where he's headed now. But that's kind of. Oh, and I also briefly, I don't even know why I'm talking about it. I just want to deter everyone else from watching it. I saw all these bad reviews for The Idol, but I had to watch it myself to see if it was good. It's the show with The Weeknd and Lily Rose Depp, and I was kind of intrigued because Sam Livingston, who created Euphoria, helped create it. And I watched the pilot, and it's awful. And I don't, and I've heard from other people that episode 2 and 3 aren't much better. It's raunchy for the sake of being raunchy, and the Weeknd also can't act. So that's another whole other issue I have.
I'll tell you this. I saw a post on Reddit where it was basically, the caption was, even The Weeknd doesn't know how to have sex, and the show's about him.
Yeah.
And I saw the scene, and I was like, dude, this is embarrassing. Like I don't even like. It's so cringy. Just like everything that he does.
Well,
it just looks bad.
Judging from the pilot and what I've read about it, this seems like one really massive ego trip for him. Because the girl that actually originally wrote this show, like 80% of it was done. And then they got rid of her and redid a lot of stuff because they said she focused too much on the female perspective, and he wanted a bigger role. Now, since the lead is female, they probably should have focused more on the female perspective, because the end result is something that it really seems like more of like a ego trip for him more than anything. And
he's a bad influence. No, but he made her career.
Yeah, and I was like,
it's like,
but
that's
guys,
not necessarily a good thing.
I can't tell. I keep hearing stories that it won't get a season 2, and then HBO said that they haven't made a decision on that yet. But everyone, stop hate watching it, because you might hate watch it into a season 2. Because there are some people I've seen on Twitter that are like, "Oh, I hate it, but I can't stop watching it."
Kaling Scooby Doo shit.
Dude, Velma, yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. I'm like, y'all hate watch that to a season 2. So be careful. Yeah. Be careful not to watch crap if you don't want crap to come back. That's an important lesson to be learned from. Yeah, Velma being a very good example. I personally haven't watched it. I heard it was awful. Jackson hated it. He was so surprised that it got season 2. But
Never saw it.
That's why we hate watch stuff.
Gaius, you and I stand strong. We're not watching it. I haven't even seen The Idol because I heard it was terrible.
Well, I kind of wish I wouldn't have watched it at all. And that one, and she's good. I'll give her that. I mean, I wish she was a part of Lily Rose Depp as Johnny Depp's daughter. I think a better show, better project would have been great for her. But the stuff surrounding her is awful, and it's shot well. It looks cool. That's about it. I mean,
it's 2023. Of course, it's fucking shot well, dude.
Oh yeah, sure. Right. You're like, of course it looks great. It's not. It's HBO. It's not hard.
It's like shot in 4K. It's shot in 8K. Like, it probably looks amazing.
You're like, stop giving it fake praise.
It's like, dude, everything nowadays is gonna have great like filters and something. It's gonna make it look amazing.
Yeah,
doesn't mean it's good.
Right. Yeah, don't watch something because it's shot well, guys. But yeah, that's all. Oh, and then of course I watched your pick for today. I actually watched it. So it's fresh in my brain, so it's good. I had seen it before, and it was good to revisit.
This was my second watch. I'll tell you that. This was my second watch.
And you had actually brought this movie up before too. Like, you were like, I think I might want to use it. And you like back pocketed it.
Yeah. Because like it's just one of those movies where I watched it, and it's gripping, man. It's gripping, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat every single minute. And I think that it's just a testament to the Safdie brothers, man. So I chose Good Time. This is one of their first theatrical releases. Before they made, and I will say, like, the reason that I watched it was because I saw Uncut Gems. And I was like, okay, what have these guys done before? Because this is insane.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I just got off the phone with my brother saying that this is Carl was like, hey, what are you filming today? And I was like, oh, we're doing Good Time. And I told him kind of how I felt, and he's like, "Oh, that's how I felt when I watched Uncut Gems." And I was like, "Funny you say that."
Yep, it really prepared me for Uncut Gems. At least there was that.
But so Good Time, it's 2017. A bank robber stops at nothing to free his brother from prison and launches himself into a whirlwind, night-long odyssey through New York's dark and dangerous criminal underworld. Yeah, it's one of these movies that I love a good drama, and I love a good drama that's kind of drawn out. This one is just, like I said, it's anxiety ridden. It is riddled with just all of these moments where you're like, are you seriously making this choice? Are you doing this again?
Yeah.
Like every single thing kind of goes wrong for him, and I mean, he's a smart guy. I'm not gonna give him I'm gonna give him credit for that. Like Robert Pattinson does a fantastic job. And so when everyone says, oh, Robert Pattinson is just Twilight, I'm like, watch Good Time and then we'll talk.
Yeah. I think this was the one, like I told you before we recorded, I didn't see this when it came out. I saw it like a year later. And I had been hearing that Robert Pattinson had been doing indie movies that were, that he was really good in, and I just didn't take the time to watch any of them. Because honestly, and my only exposure to him was Twilight, that movie Remember Me, and oh yeah, I guess it's the Harry Potter movies that he was in, but he's not really like a huge character in any of those.
He's in one.
Yeah, so I was like, that's all I know. And the Twilight stuff, a part of me was like, that might not be all his fault. Because another example from those movies, Kristen Stewart, not good in those movies, but has been good in other smaller independent movies.
I still find her hard to digest.
It might be a personality thing too, because her personality is, I mean, it's gotten a little better in recent years, but
she has the definition of resting bitch face, and I hate to say it, but like
back during the Twilight days, she was just unexcited by anything, and you were in like some of the biggest movies in the world at that time.
I turned off Spencer, man. I couldn't deal with it. I didn't like Spencer.
Yeah. I mean, she I liked her in that. Oh, I'm not even gonna say you're gonna make fun of me. I liked her in something else that she was in that no one saw. I don't know how to say it. I did like it, like Charlie's Angels. I thought she was.
She's in Charlie St. Cloud. No,
Charlie's Angels, in the new Charlie's Angels one. She was actually she was funny in Charlie's Angels. It flopped though. It bombed.
I was gonna say, if she's in Charlie St. Cloud, like I'm about to lose it.
No, I'm turning this off. But like Robert Pattinson, like I guess there was like a whole like. It reminds me a little bit.
I think he get a harder hurdle to get over more than Daniel Radcliffe, because like people either hated or loved the Twilight series, and so like he's had to live with this. I mean, he even says he regrets it. Like he was the new Batman, for God's sakes, and people are still fucking Edward.
I don't think he regretted the paychecks he got for it, but yeah, he might.
I just can't imagine the struggle he's had to get over as an actor to try and just like get over this hurdle.
And like, so that's how the movie kind of came, that was brought to my attention, because someone compared him to Hayden Christensen, and I was like, and look, hear me out, because Attack of the Clones, Hayden Christensen, not so good. He's a little better in Revenge of the Sith, but then someone was like, hey, but do you remember the movies that he did outside of Star Wars back then? And I was like, yeah, so Life is a House, Hayden Christensen is great in. It's a smaller movie. He did it before he got Star Wars. And then he did this movie called Shattered Glass that he was also great in. So I was like, all right, maybe I should. It's like the kind of same thing where like, okay, they weren't really great in this like kind of big.
But then he did Jumper, and it was terrible.
And then he did Jumper. So like, 2 of the 3 aren't horrible. So I was like, maybe Robert Pattinson has a similar thing where maybe it was just the project and not he's a good actor. It's just the scripts are bad and the direction's not great. So I actually, someone recommended me to watch this, and I did a year after it came out. I also love a A24 release. Like they're the studio behind this movie, and I
love A24. They
rarely miss, and they just let their filmmakers just do whatever they want. And
they're like playlist, man. They're like, be creative. We'll give
be creative. Yeah, and it's amazing. So when I saw it, the first thing I was struck by, and what I continue to be struck by when I watched it again, I think this is his best performance he's given ever. And I finally did see some of his other stuff that he did around a little before this. And then of course I saw The Lighthouse. He's good in that too. The Devil All the Time. He's also great in that. He disappears so much in this that it doesn't even feel like it's him at all. So like that's when I was watching, I was like, dude, wouldn't even. And it's funny because some of the stuff I looked up for the fun facts, he was able to kind of really be under the radar while he made this. Like no one really recognized him.
Yeah. He had to
While
dye his
he
fucking hair,
fucking
dude.
hair,
He bleached
yeah,
his hair.
he was able to kind of hide in plain sight a little bit while filming this, and it really. I mean, I'm always impressed when like other people can do accents really well, and I feel like uh British actors and stuff, they do some of our accents a lot better than
Oh
maybe
God,
we do
British
and maybe
people
we
know
do
how to
theirs.
make Americans.
Yeah.
British people know how to sound American. Americans have
Yeah.
no idea how to sound
And
British.
then like
Like,
and then
they have
like
no
it
idea.
almost it sounds like when we do it, it's almost like sounds like a joke. Like when
It's
they
like
try,
it's
when
like
we
either too posh and like
yeah,
too pristine, or too like grungy and
like
like
cockney,
dirty.
like really like yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. But dude, yeah, man, he disappears into this role completely,
Dude, I
and
thought he was American in this. Like I knew, like I honestly forgot that he was British. I
yeah.
really did. I really
And
did.
when he like the first time I saw it, when he opened his mouth, I was like, oh, that's so weird to hear him like talk like this. And it took a while to like, not in a bad way. It just took a while to get used to kind of forgetting what I thought about him before. Like, I mean, it was
Yeah.
like a brand new day, and I was like, hey, this I feel like I was
But
discovering him for the first
what I
time.
will say, the thing that I first realized when rewatching this again was just the Safdie brothers, the way that they like to film, because like, and it immediately brought me back to Uncut Gems, and like there are, I wouldn't say close-ups, but it is just central focus on whoever's speaking or
Yeah,
whoever's receiving
it's
information.
a lot of handheld
It's
stuff
a
too,
lot of
like
handheld, just like straight
shaky
on.
cam.
I wouldn't say shaky cam, but it's basically just like it's whoever is delivering the dialogue or receiving some information.
Yeah,
It is directly focused on your face, and that is the only thing in frame.
it's almost
There's
like
no like,
intrusive. Like it's like
it's super intrusive. It's
yeah,
super intrusive, and it really just shows every single emotion, and like how you're interpreting like the information that's coming in and the situation that's happening, and like the fucked upness of, of pretty much everything that's going on, like,
yeah,
and also like these quick critical decisions, like what am I going to do now, what am I going to do after this, how do
yeah,
I pivot to make this work in my favor.
yeah.
Yeah, it's there's so many crazy, and the majority of the movie is that, the almost, I would say
Most of
85%
it,
of it is that.
yeah.
85% of it is just basically like just close up on people's faces, which is
And,
crazy.
and it's like it gives a movie like a level of intensity. Like that's why I could tell certain people who saw Uncut Gems didn't see this, because that was a big complaint about Uncut Gems, is how they shot it, how they shot that, and
Yeah.
how it's a little like some people said they feel like they had anxiety, other people said it made them sick because like the way the camera moves and all that. And I was like, well, they must have not seen haven't seen this because it's pretty much the same
Yeah.
thing.
And I will say,
I
like,
need to rewatch
both
Uncut
movies
Gems
gave me
though.
anxiety. Both
Yeah,
movies gave me anxiety.
and I need to rewatch Uncut Gems because I can't remember which one, if it's like kind of equally the same, or which one does this stuff more, where like a lot more with the camera and a lot more that to make you feel that way.
I think they
Um,
definitely stepped their game up for Uncut Gems.
Gems,
I
yeah,
think they got a little bit more professionalism and figured out like some better angles or some steady stuff to get some better shots. But like,
yeah,
can I tell you this? Like, I haven't seen Uncut Gems since the first time I've seen it, just like
because it
this
was
movie,
too
because
much.
I'm like, am I ready to be in that situation again, where I know that there's so much that's going to happen, and so many situations where I'm like, dude, why are you getting yourself into this? What are you
Well,
doing?
the and not to skip over anything, but I just want to use it as an example. There are scenes in the movie that normally, I think in any other movie, wouldn't make you feel like worked up, but there, that whole scene where he goes to the Bell's Bondsman and Jennifer Jason Leigh's character, like the cards decline, all this stuff is going on at the same time. It becomes this like intense thing that I don't think any other movie would have given me that kind of feeling of like, whoa, this is
It's
intense. But the way it's bouncing back and forth from like him and then her on the phone with their mom about like what's going on with the card, like I'm like all this stuff, like
I can't
intense.
imagine if that's scripted, that is like writing genius. Because if it is, like, that is unbelievably fantastic. Because it is just like, there's no way that you could make a scene with a Bale's bondsman
Yeah,
and a criminal and
yeah.
a woman who is mentally unstable, who is trying to please two people at the same time
Same
while also
time.
being bipolar. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, Yeah.
Seriously unstable.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much going on, but you can see the mechanics moving in Pattinson's head. Where he's like, okay, this isn't working. This isn't working. You have my money. Give it back to me. No. Okay.
No. Yeah.
Where is he? He's at the correctional offices. Fucking call him. Call him. Okay. He's at the hospital. Why? What's wrong with him? But he's there. Okay, I'm gonna go. It's kind of like a Bourne. It's kind of like a Bourne moment where, like, you know, when
pretty much
like where Jason Bourne's like he's like processing things in his head, and he's just like, okay, like, this is what's happening. I'm going there now. So he does. It's fucking crazy, man.
It's really great.
I will say the first scene, I think, is like, it's a perfect description of someone's mental stability and their processing moment, because it really just puts it into place of like who this character is. Because you could say, like, you could do it so many different ways, where you're just like, hey, like, this guy, first of all, he's one of the directors. And he acts in it, and like, I know I'm guessing he's not like that in real life.
No, I don't think.
But like, you can just put it into perspective where it's like, hey, here's some idioms. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, or the squeaky wheel gets the grease. What does that mean to you? And to have someone be like, not really understanding it, hearing the words, but it's like trying to tell someone who's never heard an idiom before,
right? And
like, have them understand what that kind of means to somebody, and I kind of seeing that just like really makes you understand his mental stability, which I thought was fantastic. It was fantastic.
I thought it was really good.
He starts crying. And like, all these things get brought up. It's like a therapy session and a diagnostic all at once.
And I thought that scene's good because it kind of shows early on to, with those two characters, like when he comes in and interrupts the session and pulls him out. I think you learn early on then that, like, even though he loves his brother, he's not good for him though. Like, you know, you could tell, like, you know, he's kind of like, he's preventing his brother, who's already developmentally disabled, like, the lifestyle that he's having him live with him definitely isn't the right one for him to be in. And you learn that very early on when he interrupts that session and pulls him out of it. Like, whatever progress that he might have been kind of maybe making there, it's not, you know, the brother needs to get out of the way in order for him to, like, you know.
The second there was a breakthrough, there was a breakthrough,
and he
immediately comes in. What the fuck are you doing? Like, you're hurting him. Like, you're an asshole. Like, gosh, you're right.
And then, you know, I never doubted that. Well, I mean, maybe because that's how I looked at it. He cares about his brother, of course. So maybe he thinks that, you know, he's doing the right thing, in his own mind. But it kind of frames that, like, no, like, this, and especially with how things wrap up later, like all the way at the end of the movie, like, it's clear that, like, they shouldn't be kind of intertwined the way they are, and especially in the lifestyle that his brother is choosing to live.
It's because, like, I think that throughout the movie you realize that Pattinson has the ability to take advantage of certain people and their situations.
He does it a few times.
He does it many times. And he kind of holds it over them, where it's just like, he kind of eases into it, and he's kind of like, hey, like, let me test the waters a little bit. Let me see what I can kind of get away with. Yeah. Once he gets away with one thing, he's just like, okay, like, no, this is how it fucking is. This is what we're doing, and you better listen to me because I know what I'm talking about. And I think that, like, he's obviously gone that far with his brother. But, like, at the same time, like, you kind of think about it in his brother's mind, where he's in jail. So, I mean, like, obviously progressing, like, they rob this bank. First of all, the prosthetics are, like, pretty good.
Pretty good for.
Like, when you first see him, you're just kind of like, oh, who's this weirdo? Oh shit, that's not them. Like, that's a great disguise.
Yeah.
But then his brother's is terrible. Yeah. His brother's is terrible.
Awful.
And like, gosh, the handwritten notes back and forth is just like,
that scene was tense without having to make it, like, tense. Like, it was like, you know, the subtle, and it's like that with a few scenes in the movie, like the subtle ways in which they choose to frame some of the scenes. It really is, it's tense without having to go overboard with it at all. Yeah. I mean, and that's just a testament of, like, I think their visual style, it's like its own character in itself, the way they're choosing the
There's usually always
redo
only
these scenes.
one person in the shot, and that's what I
Right.
love.
Yeah. Yeah. They're, I mean, you know, I think in some circles they might get accused of being kind of like almost coming off as kind of like a little artsy fartsy, like it's like almost film school ish the way
Yeah.
they shoot their stuff, but it works for me. I mean, it's to get kind of like a little bit of
it's funny
anxiety for.
because when we talk about it, like I want to watch it again. Like
Yeah,
even
yeah,
though, yeah. Like as we're speaking about it, and like I haven't seen it like in a while, and then I saw it again today. Now I want to watch it again because
Like
I
I
want
feel
to
like I went through a lot after it was over.
Yeah, I know.
was like,
Afterwards, I was like, I need a shower.
I was like,
need,
everything about
take
that,
a walk.
like it felt dirty, but not like in a bad way. But it was
I
like
know,
I
know.
felt like I spent that 24-hour period with them or with him,
Yeah.
and like it was just like, and yeah, I also love movies that kind of take place like in a short amount of time, and kind of showing like, you know, so much
every moment of every day.
That show. I mean, it's funny because you brought up Training Day earlier. That kind of the same vibe too, where like, you know, so much can transpire in like a 24-hour period, which is insane. And this movie shows that in spades pretty much. There's a lot that,
but like, I mean, I think that like one of the things that I love about whether or not it's the writing, which I think it is, but also Pattinson's ability to make it seem realistic is like his ability to lie on a fucking dime. Like when the they rob the bank, they get the money, and then it starts to the die starts to explode or whatever it is. First of all, I don't know how that works.
I don't know how that works either.
Like, yeah, I don't work for a bank. I don't work for anything. I've also never tried to rob a bank, so I don't know like what that works. But like, so they get like plastered with all this dye, and they go into a Domino's pizza, which I love. Domino's. And like, especially in New York, like this is one of the things that I kind of love about the setting. It's not like in West Virginia. It's not in like Iowa. It's in New York, where if two fucking random people walk into your place, go straight to the bathroom, as a business owner, you're like, get the hell out. I'm calling the cops. Like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But Pattinson comes out. He's like, hey, like my brother is mentally handicapped, which is true.
True. Yeah.
And he's like, and he just got hit with a paint can. We're working at a construction site. Like, I'm sorry, just give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. How can you not feel some sort of remorse or some sort of like, should I believe him? Like everything he has, everything he says has some sense of truth
to it.
Make it feel like he actually believes and whatever he's saying is true, which is like, gosh, I mean, it's the tact of a professional liar.
Right. Exactly.
Really is.
No, it really is.
So he like
he's
hides
become
the money,
really good at
and
it.
Then God, he hides the money, and then like they wash the dye off, which I always thought was, after seeing The Nice Guys, when that one guy gets the dye on his face, like can't wash it off, but they do, and they change their clothes because they prepared for it, or at least Robert Pattinson prepared for it. Yeah. Which his name was Connie in the thing, right?
Yeah.
I think that was a great choice too. Like a very distinct name.
Yeah.
I thought that was very different.
Yeah.
But no, like so then they start like running, and gosh, like the brother just makes idiotic choices, running from the cops when they would have been fine. And it just kind of bleeds perfectly into the guy's character. And like what he would have done in that situation, and Pattinson has to fucking deal with it and change his course based off of it. And gosh, the fact that the credits are rolling while the story is being told, I love that.
So that's what I love too, because like I love when movies kind of do that, because you kind of forget that you haven't maybe had any opening titles yet. So I was so lost in watching it that when they started to pop up, I was like, oh yeah, we haven't done that yet. But I did love that they did that over that part of the story. Like it's still progressing as like that is still happening. I thought that was really cool. One of many cool choices that they make as directors in this. I would just I know like we keep talking about the visual style and all that. I mean, it's so alive, and like it really makes like every moment there's like this escalating like tension in every scene that they shoot. And like I said, they could probably make walking across the street anxiety ridden if they wanted to. I mean, that's how they kind of frame all like their
It
movies so
makes it seem
far.
like every next action is going to be the climax of the movie.
Yeah, it's like, oh, like what's gonna happen now? Like, yeah, it almost feels like every scene could be a climax. Like, you're like, oh, this
Which
is
is
how this is gonna
terrifying. And
wrap
guess
up.
what? It
Yeah,
is. Every single
yeah,
scene is. Like, it
yeah,
really is.
it really is. Yeah, it's just like, wow, where can it like where can it go from here? Where can it go from here? Um, yeah, I mean, that is what I was struck with the first time I saw it, and even more now that I was like, dude, how do you make every fucking scene move like that? Where it feels like
Yeah.
every single scene is dire, and like I don't know if it's going to go well, or you really don't. You do have this feeling of anxiety of like, I don't know where this is going. You're kind of, I mean, you're rooting for him a bit. I mean, even though he's
You
not
are. I mean, and the scene, especially when you root for him, is like when he breaks into the hospital, or not breaks in, he just walks in the hospital.
Well, just walks in. I love how
like,
easy that is. By the way, for like, it's like
which is true. I mean, you could just be a random person who walks in and is just like, hey, I'm looking for like my family member, and they're like,
yeah,
they never say like, show me your ID, like nothing like that.
yeah,
But like, he really makes you feel for him when he goes to the 6th floor. First of all, figures out where the inmates might be taken if they're even going to be there.
yeah,
And then goes into this room to wait for the person to get off.
yep.
And you just hear a hello, like just a pitiful hello.
Yeah,
And he feeds this woman Jello, and like he like basically is being a good person to her, because you obviously know he has feelings. I mean, he cares
yeah,
for his brother. Like he has a lot of gratitude, and he has a lot of
it's just,
feelings towards people.
it's just that
But
his methods are misguided. As I think that's
but
the
well, I
lesson
think his
there.
methods are smart, but I think his methods are his reasoning is bad. His
Yeah,
reasoning is bad.
pretty fucking misguided.
But I mean that's even in the scene towards the end when he's in the apartment of the guy that he got arrested, and he's like, I am better than you. I am better than you. Like that scene. Hold on, we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
Like, my God. Like,
so I was actually legit surprised when I first saw this, when his brother is ultimately like, arrested, and that's why Connie ends up going to try to go to the bail bondsman to get him out, and then he finds out, that now he's at this hospital because he got, beat up while he was there in jail. And I remember when I first saw it, when of course I'm thinking, oh, he's just gonna get his brother out of the hospital, and I was legit so surprised when that turned out to like not be his brother. The first time I saw the movie, I was like, oh shit! I was like,
floored me.
And they did a good job of like, of course you really
looked like him.
It looked
There's
like
no reason
him.
why it shouldn't have been him.
Yeah,
you were in Robert Pattinson's mind at that point.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit! I mean, and that was actually a legit, really good kind of.
That's better than any of the M. Night Shyamalan twists that have happened in the last 10 years.
And another good example of whatever can go on will go wrong in a movie like this. But yeah, I thought that was so cool. Yeah, and like made it work, kind of.
Okay, but before we figure that out, I will say what we have to talk about is the fucking girl, because that is something that I forgot about, and I don't know if that was a personal choice by the directors, the fact that she's 16. Also, what was in the grandma's fridge? Was she a heroin?
Yeah, I could.
What was she? They never explain that. They never explain that. She's like, oh, you're not gonna find anything in the fridge. It's like, okay, then what the fuck was that? Like, what was that? But like, you could tell that she's already been engaged in some bad people, some bad things. He asked about her ex-boyfriend, like, hey, where's your drug dealer's house? Well, I'll go there and I'll like maybe get some drugs, or maybe like stick him up because he's probably got money there. But gosh, like the scene when he like sees his mugshot on the news and
distract her,
God,
kisses her.
It's so uncomfortable. It is horrible. I honestly turned away. I was just like, God, it is
uncomfortable.
Because the thing is, like, even the actress says that she's 16. She doesn't even look 16.
She looks younger.
She looks
I
much
mean,
younger.
she looks much younger,
Yeah.
and I was trying to figure out if they had, if I could find out how old she was when she. I mean, I don't know. It kind of made me uncomfortable
Either
a
way,
bit.
whatever they were trying to get across, it worked because it just was a terrible situation. But I think that he used that whole thing, like the character, and this I'm saying the character, not like
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not condoning, guys, all the listeners out
Back
there
in
to back with
16-year
Blockbuster.
olds.
None of us condone any statutory rape. Swear to
No, not
God.
at all. Not at all.
But this whole situation was just like God, like you can just tell that Pattinson, his character, like realized that this girl was already exposed to some of it, but was very vulnerable and was able to be manipulated
Yeah,
because
it's just
he could make her he
another.
could make her feel special. He could
Yeah,
make her feel wanted because she had nothing. She
yeah,
basically had nothing.
and it's just another example
And
of him using kind of situations and people as a means to an end
yeah,
again to get
he
to
already
like
used
what.
the people to get
Yeah,
inside their house
the
because
house.
he already
Yeah,
used them to get on the bus first.
right.
And then he used them as a stop because they didn't have a stop planned. He didn't know that. Used them to get in their house, and then he got there, stole their car.
Yep.
But that whole scene, man, when like he dyes his hair, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's
Yeah.
like, "I'm a weirdo." It's like,
Yeah, like okay.
gosh, and she just believes him, like kind of takes it off the cuff, and
Yeah.
God, man, it was
I
just
think
like
I would have like
I would
no.
have
I
said,
mean,
"Get the hell out of my house" at that point. Like
yeah, and
you're starting to make yourself pretty much like you're moving in. Like
yeah.
you're starting to make yourself very comfortable.
And I also think I mean, I didn't have it. I mean, it's in the movie, so I mean, there's nothing I can do about it. But like, if it would have ended with the initial kiss on the couch, I would have been like, all right, well, he did that to distract her from seeing
But then
like
he
the
picks her
mugshot
up
on
and
TV.
takes her
Then he picks her up
downstairs.
and takes her in the room and continues to do it. And I was like, oh well, I mean, okay, it made me feel a little icky, but I mean,
He
I guess
only
that's what.
stops when the cops come, when he hears Nassau police or whatever
Yeah,
or something.
and then like and of course that guy starts who we find out is not his
Oh no,
brother.
no, no, sorry.
It's
Yeah,
not
he
his
stops
brother. His
because
brother because he
he hears
hears him
his
yelling.
fake
Yeah,
brother now.
yeah,
That's
no,
like
yeah. Who is not
rioting
his
around, which
not his
is
brother.
also I love it. It's such a perfect description of someone who's like, yeah, he's like, where the fuck am I?
He's
Like,
like, where the
what is
fuck am
happening?
I? He's like, what the fuck happened to my face? He's like going
Yeah.
completely, and he's just like on top of him, like, just be quiet, be quiet. He's like, wow, get the fuck
And
off
then
me.
she's coming in, and he's like, if you wake up the grandma, I will literally beat you worse than you look right now.
Right now, yeah. And then he like has to like kind of calm her down. He's like, oh, go get me aspirin, go do this. Like,
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
okay.
Go in your room. Go in your room. It's like
And
you
yeah,
just met this guy. You
but
just met this
it's
guy.
also like another good example of how quick that character's mind has to work. Like oh,
Yeah, yeah,
another obstacle. Now I got to figure out how to like diffuse the situation before
yeah.
it gets out of hand.
But I
Which
think
I mean,
he uses his like this like older authority where it's like, hey, I'm older than you. I
yeah,
know what's better. I know what's right. I know the right decisions to make because you haven't lived yet. Like you don't really understand anything.
man,
So like
yeah,
you should trust me. You got to trust me.
yeah, and she does,
And she
and
does. And she
and
does.
she does
Yeah.
completely.
But no, like
Um,
I love what you said. Like the quick thinking, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like this character is smart. He is insanely
yeah,
smart. Insanely smart, but in a very criminal and devious way.
this way, yeah, yeah.
Where he
Using
thinks
all of his
immediately he immediately only thinks, and he's only thinking about himself at every moment.
right. I think that's true.
But he uses the people around him in order to get there.
Yeah, yeah, they're all a means to an end.
Because at the same time, like he can't do this by himself, and he knows that. And
Yeah,
so I think that like that's one of the smartest things I think about the movie is that like most of the things that he wants to accomplish are not capable. He's not capable of doing them by himself.
yeah.
And so he has
Agreed.
to use these and manipulate these people around him in
Like even
order
well,
to
like
get a means to an end.
even using his brother. I mean he
He's using his
like
brother for
I mean
escape.
who he loves. I mean like I'm not denying that. I think he does love his brother, but like every it seems like everyone in his life is placed in there to advance him in some kind of way. He's not
But
really
I also
he's
took
kind
it as a way where it's like he also is trying to save his brother because I think that like when they show that interview with the grandma on TV where it's like
Yeah.
that incident that we talked about, like they show in the first scene,
Yeah.
where like he basically broke her arm, and
Yeah.
she didn't want to have anything to do with
Anything to do with
him.
him. Yeah.
I think that Robert Pattinson was kind of like, like I gotta save him and take him away from people because he doesn't like. I love him and I love whoever he is, but he needs to be away from civilization and like society.
Yeah.
And
And
I think so. I think that he was actually doing like that's the only selfless act that he's actually tried to commit. Besides
Right,
that, everything else was
it's selfish.
100% selfish.
Yeah, and I also think like he in his mind he thinks like what will his brother kind of be or do like without him? Like he need
And
like
also,
he
who
feels
is
like
he
he feels
without his
yeah
brother?
brother yeah like he feels
Who
like
is he?
they
Who
it's
is
some
he
weird
without his
it's some
brother?
interesting place like he thinks they both need each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah,
And,
like if without his brother, he's just a fucking criminal. He's not
Yeah,
a savior.
true.
He's not a good person. He's just a guy who's just done terrible things.
and honestly, it makes for a really interesting character too because yeah, he is doing all these things that are so wrong to get what he wants, but his motivations for most of that movie is trying to figure out how to save his brother and get his brother back.
Yeah.
So it's like, so I think that's
Well,
why
the thing
like,
is, I think that those lines get pretty
blurred.
pretty blurred
Oh,
pretty quick.
yeah, they
like,
do.
There's
They
a
do.
lot of things that get blurred pretty quickly, but also like they go in and out. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of like, okay, so my brother's not getting out of the hospital, or the cops aren't leaving the hospital for like at least another 2 hours.
Yeah.
I got some time. I got some time to do something for me.
Yep. Yeah, you're right. That's true. Yeah. It's still always kind of thinking about himself.
I got a little bit of time to do something for me. So let's get some money. Let's go get the
Yeah.
acid that's hidden in a goddamn amusement park.
Yeah, so that was okay. So as we mentioned earlier, the fake brother, he thinks he's has gotten his brother out of the hospital, but ends up being this guy named Ray. And I have to say, the scene where Ray is recounting how he got to this point,
I was just gonna
it's
say,
probably
love
it's probably
Love
one of
the
my
scene.
favorite scenes of the movie because it's, dude, I mean, it had to be incredibly hard. It's a long monologue, just like of like
Oh my god, what, like at least 10 minutes?
it's like it felt
Maybe?
that long, but not like
It felt
long
that
where
long, yeah.
not long like that where I was like, oh, this is like getting tiresome. I was invested in that
I
entire story.
wanted the story to go longer. I wanted him to keep telling. Like I wanted to hear more.
And then of course I love that you're also hearing this story from someone who, you know, at some point during this time was very, very high. So there's only like this very like skewed perspective of like what happened. Like when he's explaining the whole like, oh yeah, the cab driver just like trying to talk to me, and he was like, dude, the cab driver,
But
the real
I
dialogue.
love how they also put like probably what the realistic conversation was. Like you're hearing his
Him
dialogue
dialogue, and then him being like, "Don't throw
the
him in my car."
background, but the guy's like, I'm not getting ripped off again. Get the fuck out of my car. I'm taking you to the goddamn police. Like, but he in his mind he's like, yeah, he was yelling at me. Like
he was just yelling at me, and like the real dialogue is like,
stop talking.
He's like, if you're gonna throw up in my car, I'm gonna pull over and take your money. Yeah, like I love like
I love that dichotomy. Like it literally put like his dialogue over the actual situation.
Yeah, because his interpretation of that whole experience would be very skewed based on like the drugs that he took and all the things that were going on. But I thought that monologue was so great, and I just love when it's over and he says his piece and like. And Robert Pattinson's already heard the information he needs to hear, like, you know, LSD, Adventureland.
Listening to me? He's like, we're going.
And I love that he doesn't answer for like a while, and you realize when he's just been on his phone, like, yeah, I got all the pieces of information
he was
listening the entire time. Yeah,
he was listening to everything.
Again, another good example of like, all right, I need to like figure out how to make this work.
The money. He was listening
the
to
money
the
part,
money that someone robbed, and he had no idea how much it was.
Yeah,
he just knew that the guy was bragging about it, which means that it was probably a lot. So like he's interested in the money. He has nothing to do with the next plan that he has that's going to come to fruition, which is like, oh my god, like probably one of the most heinous acts that I've seen in like on film, man. Like where a guy who's working security,
a very overzealous security guard. I mean, I get it. It's his job.
Listen, this is a guy who's probably never seen anything
ever before.
And he's like, hey, two guys broke into my place. Like, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna call the cops. Like, I'm gonna arrest them. Like, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. And he gets beaten to a pulp, and
a really aggressive
force fed way more acid than
Well,
anyone should ever take in their entire life.
ever take in their
which
life.
is why he's speaking gibberish. Like literally, I was watching with subtitles, and it's like
Was it
speaking
just like
alien language or something like that. It was like it didn't even say anything. It was like speaking gibberish, and
what's crazy
yeah,
is
I can't
that
imagine waking up. I can't imagine waking up from unconsciousness in a haunted house with EMTs over you, and you're tripping on acid. Like that's probably like literally like my worst nightmare.
And what's crazy too is that I didn't realize this when I first saw the movie, but that's the guy from Captain Phillips, and I didn't know that.
That is
like Academy Award nominated
that's
actor,
captain.
by the way, guys.
That is the captain.
He's the captain now. Yeah, and Academy Award nominated actor, dude. And I remember he was in Blade Runner 2049, and I feel so bad saying this, but when he got nominated for that Oscar for Captain Phillips, I was like, what a great moment for him. But I'm just wondering, like, what other parts are you gonna be able to play? So
the thing is, he did great.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was a good, like, little, like, kind of scene for him. But that was, yeah, the whole time. I mean, I'm glad you.
But it was also
that,
like, can I say this? Can I say this? It was kind of a token act.
Yeah, it was.
It really was. Like, it was kind of like a, like, and the thing is, I think that that's the reason that Pattinson was able to get away with it, was because it was just like, hey, like, this is a security guard who's black, and I can take his clothes, and guess what? If he's acting crazy after being force-fed acid and now is like, and I beat him up, it's gonna make it look very easy for him to see, for everyone else to believe that he was the one who was intruding to get this.
You know what's interesting is that I probably should have looked at that. I probably should have looked at that. I probably should have looked at that scene that way. And
I felt dirty watching it, dude.
Yeah, I probably should have looked at that scene that way. And it, like, the way you say it now, like, oh yeah, that is probably what he was thinking, considering how that character thinks on how he needs to get away with stuff.
Because I hate to say it, but like, if that guy was white, they'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, that's very true.
They'd be like, what the hell is happening here?
Yeah, that's right. How do you feel about the stuff with the girl, how that ends up, like when they like see each other, when he's dressed in the security outfit, and I guess she's being like taken away by the cops and stuff, and like I kept wondering if that was
question.
Like, yeah, I was wondering, like, does she look at it as like an act of betrayal? I was just trying to figure out what her thought process was.
As well. I don't know how recent this was, but is she the same girl that's in Project Power?
I don't know. That's actually a good question.
I just had that thought where I'm like, she looks very familiar.
All right, I'm gonna look it up while I figure that out.
But I will say, like, that look where she sees him, I think it's a sort of realization on her part of, she's like, oh wow, I was naive. I was super naive.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got.
But I also realized that.
Well, she didn't rat him out either. She could have easily said something.
I also think that she realized, like, we're both gonna get away with this. Like
right.
She's like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just sitting here.
Right.
Like, I can call my grandma and be like, hey, I went to go get White Castle. Like, and I'm kind of out here in this, or I mean, she was an hour away, so like that might be a little bit more tough to
but they're not gonna believe that she beat anybody up and force fed them acid and like all that other stuff. So like,
but so no. That's even worse. I don't think that anyone's gonna ever believe that he was force fed acid. I think that guy's gonna go to jail for years. That's the most fucked up thing, I think. Is like, that guy who did nothing wrong but do his job is. He's gonna be in jail for decades.
Yeah, probably.
Because like,
no, it makes sense.
Who the hell is gonna believe him? And also, who is he gonna remember?
Yeah, very true.
God, dude, I'm telling you, like that sat hard with me. I was like, wow,
that's so crazy.
This guy is getting seriously, like, completely screwed by a criminal who just did something on the fly, took his clothes, took his car, and then lived in his apartment for a couple
days. Yeah, I mean, dude, that's so cool that
it was just like, that was the most gut-wrenching part for me. It was just like, this innocent man who has done nothing wrong but try to do his job, got beaten up, almost killed, force-fed drugs, and sent to jail for probably years for nothing.
That's so cool. That's so cool that you saw the deeper ramifications of that scene, because I I be honest, I didn't like look at it that way until you just pointed
God,
it out.
that was gut wrenching, man. I'm telling you, that was hard
And
to
honestly,
see.
it makes sense considering what the character is like and what he does to get what he needs to get from point
Yeah.
A to point B. Like it would make
What I'm saying is your reaction is exactly how Pattinson thought. He didn't care. How is he
yeah,
supposed to, like, he doesn't give a shit.
yeah,
He's just like, now this is just another means to my end.
yeah. Wow, I think you pulled out a good moment there. I didn't really like see it that like
I'm
that.
telling you, bro.
Dude,
Like this is the second time I watched it and I saw that and I was like, wow, like he is ruined lives. And he might have ruined this girl's life. She might have had a sentence. She might have gone to jail too. She's 16. They might
yeah,
try her as an adult in New York. Who knows?
yeah.
Like it's crazy. Like he's like physically ruining people's lives and not really caring about it at all because it's just they're a stepping stone to get to what he needs to do.
To do, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. Every
But
single
also
person.
he does it so quickly and so
I think that's
smartly.
why you might miss it. Like it was just like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's just
Because
like his.
it's
It's the
honestly
way his mind
genius.
works.
It's
Yeah,
genius.
it's the way his fucking mind works. It also makes you realize, like, dude, like, what would this guy's life be like if he actually applied all that to like
Yeah.
a much better thing to do with his life?
He
You
could be
know,
a
like,
stockbroker and be a legal thief.
yeah, true, yeah. It's always interesting in movies like that too, when you look at characters that like choose a path like this and like they frame them to be very smart. You can tell they're intelligent, and
Yeah.
it's like, I mean, it's like that in real life, where too, where certain people just kind of took a hard fucking left turn and chose to use their intelligence for completely like nefarious things, and they probably could have thrived a lot more if they applied that to
But
something
at the same
legitimate.
time, it's like you can see him getting desperate.
Especially towards the end, yeah.
Like even as soon as they even get into the apartment, like I kind of love like I don't know if I like the dog barking towards the end kind of got a
Oh,
little bit annoying.
yeah, yeah,
But like you could tell like that he liked Pattinson.
yeah.
But also the
Because
only reason that you could tell that was because he's sitting on the couch and he's like, I think I was a dog in my past life.
that's
Actually, I
life.
know I was. I was like,
Yeah, yeah,
okay, like,
yeah,
is this how you're gonna get over the guard dog?
yeah. They're setting.
Like,
They're setting
is
it
this how
up.
you're gonna get past this guard dog that
They're
is
totally
eventually
setting
gonna
up.
save you from this fucking ex-con who's just got out of jail? Which
Yeah,
also, like, I'm kind of bringing it back to the scene where it's like it shows the pattern of addiction, where it's like he's like, hey, I was just in jail for 2 years, and
yeah,
they dropped me off next to a liquor store. You don't think I'm
yeah,
gonna drink? How dare you think
yeah,
that? Like,
yeah.
and
That's crazy. Yeah,
immediately you see him chugging a
yep,
pint, and I was like, oh my god, like he just
yeah,
can't help himself. He can't help himself. No wonder he's in jail. And then
yeah.
and like he immediately calls his friend who's got more liquor, Xanax. Like
Xanax.
this is a guy that probably should be in jail. Is like some
Yeah,
guy who's like he's like legitimately dangerous to not only himself but to other
others.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, it's true. That's very true. And like it's funny watching it the first time and then watching it now. I was like,
because at
I
first you
kept
think it's
like,
just like, oh, he's just partying, but like
yeah,
when you realize that he literally just got out of jail, like this is a dangerous person who
very
can't
dangerous person.
but
And
the
also,
thing is like the thing is like I don't think he's a dangerous person when he's sober. I think
no,
that
probably
like
not.
the only
Which is
reason that he's
why,
dangerous is because he gets uncontrollably fucked up and can't
yeah,
control what he does and does really rash things and hurts a lot of people and hurts himself,
yeah,
including why his face is so
it's
messed
all
up.
fucked
Like
up.
this
Yeah,
is why like this is why he's in trouble. This is why he's in trouble is because like he can't control himself.
yeah, I agree.
He needs help. He needs help, and that's why he's in government funded fucking
Yep.
prison and like,
Yeah.
all his help.
Another good thing that I thought worked tension wise was how those two characters, Connie and Ray, how they were going to ultimately kind of part in some way. Because like every time I was watching their scenes, I was like, this is not like some union that's made in heaven. They're not going to be like partners in crime. Eventually, they're going to like this. This
They
has to get
both
separated.
hate each other, but they need each other at this
but they
moment.
need each other. But like the
It
whole
is
time,
not
I'm
going to
like,
last. It
yeah,
is
the
not
whole
going to
time I'm
last.
watching it, I'm like, how are they going to make it possible for them to like, what is going to be the thing that like, all right, this is done.
You
Like,
got
I
to
don't
bring
need
someone
you.
else in. Got to bring
Yeah,
someone else in.
I don't need you anymore. And
Well, because I think this is interesting. It's just it's like you bring a third party in, and this is just kind of like just in life in general, where it's like you bring a third party in, and this guy just got out of jail. He really has no understanding. He doesn't remember really last night except for a few things with his friends.
Yeah.
And he's in the situation with someone he doesn't really know. Pattinson is completely alone except for the people that he needs in that moment.
Yep.
And you bring a third party in, and he's like, "What you're doing is crazy. What is happening right now is insane." And he's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's change this." He's like, "Let's change." He's like, "What I'm doing is, yeah, whatever is happening is crazy. You're right. I need to change."
Yeah.
And so, like, I think that's a great, like, sort of segue into, like, kind of the way that life is, where it's like sometimes you just kind of get sucked up into a situation, and you're like, I need someone else to tell me that, like, something's not right, you know?
Yeah. 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 I completely agree with that. Because like the whole time I was watching it, it was like, this is such an uncomfortable like union between two people that
Horrible
don't
partnership.
like. There's not a good
partnership.
Like it's worked to get them to this point so far, I guess. But like,
but
that
it's getting worse.
this. I was like, this isn't going to end well, and that's the whole feeling.
Can we talk about the scene? Can we talk about the scene too, where like it's like the morning after, and they have this sort of fight, and so Pattinson basically is just like, hey, like, the first thing you did when you came into this house was you grabbed the bottle. And like, that's the first thing you did. And you know what? That's fine. But it means you're a fuck up, and it means you're a loser, and it means you have no contribution to society. And it means that you have nothing else that you can offer. And I am better than you. Because the guy's like spouting, like, oh, like, you don't know me, you don't know what I've done. I made more money in jail than I did here. Like, all these kind of things. And I thought that was a really pivotal scene where it just kind of shows his egotistical mentality of, first of all, like, what I also agree with, like, he
wasn't, but that's the funny part is that he wasn't wrong. It's not wrong.
I'm not saying, and better has such a vague connotation that it's
you're like that's all relative. I mean,
better in what sense? Better in the fact that he's smarter than you. Yeah, he is a lot smarter than you.
Right.
That's why he came up with his plan. That's why he did all this stuff. Better than you in the fact that he's also a contributing member of society. I don't think so. You guys are both fuck ups.
Like it's like you're both fuck ups, but you're a little better at it than he is. That's all. Like you've executed this
a really crazy and realistic conversation that I can imagine happening between a lot of criminal sociopaths who, like, this is why people get caught.
Well,
this is why a lot of sociopaths get caught, and like criminals get caught, is because like they have these ego boosts, and like someone gets drunk, someone gets fucked up, someone gets drugged out, someone gets like high and mighty. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
It's also interesting to have a character like Connie be in judgment of someone else, because like you said, they're both fuck ups. But I think when people think that way, the way that he thinks, like he's like, well, I've been doing this the right way in his brain. Like I've executed like these things.
But you're the one holding me back.
But you're the one holding me back. And like, I think people do think that way when they, even though they're just as awful as the people they're trying to judge or ridicule. That's what I kind of picked up from that scene. I was like, well, you're the same, but you feel like you have executed this a little bit better than he has. You haven't gotten caught as much. This is like, there's like all this other stuff where you think you're better at it.
What are you doing this for? I'm doing this for my brother. That's his own personal thing.
Right. And you are basically an addict, and that's all you know. And I thought that scene was actually really good too. Probably my second favorite one. Just like dialogue exchange between him. Like, it also shows like the root of like what Robert Pattinson character is at the end of the day. It's just like,
I also think it shows like, I don't know if it's just the Safdie brothers that bring out like this sort of aggression, and whatever the dialogue was written. Like, I wish I could see the script, because like this does not seem scripted at all.
It's interesting that you said that. I was going to save it to the end. Some of the actors got full scripts, like Robert Pattinson and stuff, and others were told to basically improvise and react to like
whatever they say.
Whoever they say, yeah. And a lot of the stuff in the movie, I don't necessarily know if they necessarily got like permits all the time to shoot where they shot, because they were just doing stuff in real time while stuff was like open, and they want to use real people as extras, and they did, and some people were like really confused by what was going on while they were filming. So that sense of realism, you can tell, like, where it's like, oh, like they weren't just shooting like a movie, they wanted this to be as realistic as possible. And so they really did want to kind of create these scenes where it's like, oh yeah, we have to shoot at this location, but let's shut it down. They want to like keep these things like, no, like we're gonna go to this location and it's going to be open to the public and we're just going to shoot. And I mean, that's how, like, again, that's how Robert Pattinson was able to, in real life during that time filming it, was able to easily get around because no one recognized who he was. They realized that no one would recognize who he was, and they could actually
crazy. He looked insane.
He does. So I think all that adds to it. I mean, I love what they did with it. But I also really loved Uncut Gems too. They're 2 for 2 for me. And I know that visuals,
honestly, like whatever they put out next, I'm just gonna take some antidepressants and then
yeah. I mean, like I know there are some people, especially with Uncut
drink some wine and just like make sure that I'm like, you know what, this isn't my life.
In a good space.
Is them. They're fucking their own lives up. That's fine.
My one person one of the guys that writes on one of the websites was talking about Uncut Gems, and he was just like, dude, I wanted to like it so much, but I felt like I was gonna throw up the entire time I was watching because like I was like the camera's just always fucking moving, but it adds to it. I mean, it's like a really good. It puts you in that state of mind of like what these.
But also another instance of Adam Sandler finding the hottest woman of all time, getting her naked on camera, Julia Fox. Who also now becomes like, who was she with recently? Was it Jared Leto?
She was Kanye West for a little bit.
Kanye West, even worse. Oh my god,
even worse. Yeah, guys. In case you didn't know what we're talking about, Adam Sandler has. I mean, you've seen his movies. He has a tendency to always have like a really hot leading lady as a co-star. I guess that applies.
Okay. Really hot. Absolutely gorgeous, like stunning women, stunning.
Just Click is Kate Beckinsale. He's Jennifer Aniston a couple of times, 3 times now, I think.
3 times, but also one of them was Brooklyn Decker.
Also,
swimsuit, like, and he's like his wife at that point, or whatever it is. Like,
and he. I don't know if you would say Drew Barrymore's hot. She's cute, so Drew Barrymore 3 times too. Like, he's.
And then this movie is just like, dude, like, well done, sir, well done, but like, really.
I know that Adam Sandler is working with them again on their next project, and that they're not saying what the project is, but he is working with.
I will say, Julia Fox did a fucking fantastic job in Uncut Gems.
She was good, and Idina Menzel, who also I wouldn't
feel scared. She made me feel like she was loved, but also like didn't know what the relationship was like.
Yeah,
God, I gotta watch that movie again. Should I continue this?
It's kind of made me want to rewatch it because I've been rewatching it for a long time.
But the thing is, I can't rewatch it because it's on fucking Netflix. And my family account.
Oh, they finally booted you up.
They finally booted it up, man.
This happened to Jackson.
So to everyone out there listening, listen. Not every family watches from the same TV.
Yeah.
My family has a family account. I live in LA. My brother lives in Northern California. My sister lives in Seattle. Guess what I have to do? I have to verify my TV on all of these platforms in order to watch Netflix.
That's ridiculous. So now you don't. So now you have to actually get it yourself.
I was trying to watch. I mean, I'm gonna pay for it. I don't care. But like, I was just trying to watch the new Black Mirror season.
And then they're like, sorry.
And I was like, I'll watch. I think I'll watch something else.
They're like, sorry, scrub. Pay for your own Netflix.
All right, poor.
I know this is like a little off topic. I think it's so funny that Netflix is the only one enforcing this. All the other streaming services know that they get shared, and they're just like,
I will say,
whatever.
I will say though, this is because Netflix is a pioneer. They always have been. The second that this actually works and that people start paying for their own thing, and then they see subscribers increase, every single other service is going to do it. So like, I hate to say it, but like this is coming across
all of them.
Every streaming service. This is gonna be
that's more of a you guys problem than a me problem. I don't share. I mean, I share mine with other people. But I'm the primary person on it. I've actually never shared Netflix. Everyone's always had it, so they're like, "Oh, I don't need your Netflix." But like,
and that's why
everything else. I think like Paramount Plus, Peacock, Max. People use that now.
This is a regular show. This is a regular show conversation. Let's get back to good times.
No, right. Sorry.
This is a conversation for Owen's opinions back on the regular.
Back to Blockbuster. My bad. We had a little moment.
Sorry, a little deviation. We can't control ourselves, guys. I'm sorry.
Because Owen doesn't pay for his Netflix account, and finally got the boot.
Oh gosh.
Wow. Where can we leave off?
So we left off. I think they were leaving. They're in the apartment,
right.
And like, so his deviation has gone from, I need to get my brother out of the hospital, to I'm trying to sell this acid. So I'm trying to get some money.
Yeah, new
Give
plan.
me 15 grand. Like, and
Yeah.
also like that's not like at this
New
point, this
plan.
isn't for his brother's bail. This is for him.
Him, yeah.
Like this is nothing to do with his brother anymore. Like this is all about taking advantage of the situation. And yeah, gosh, like he changes into his clothes. Thank God, like this guy's his size.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what are the
Convenient.
chances?
Convenient, yeah.
And also he
Convenient.
chooses like a satin,
Yeah.
like like a satin
Stand out.
sweatshirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, like come on, bro. Like
Yeah.
choose like a dark hoodie or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Didn't think this through. That is funny. Yeah, I love how everything kind of wraps up too. I mean, it was because like none of this was, I guess with a movie like this, you know that this isn't going to end well, right? I mean, I guess it kind of does for his brother in a sense.
See, the way that the movie does, I feel like there was always a chance that Connie's gonna get off. Connie's gonna make it work.
Yeah, I mean, well, we watched him. We watched him weasel his way out of like a bunch of
nine times before.
Yeah, I have to say, when you see Ray kind of climbing out the window, when
I knew it was gonna fall.
I knew it was gonna fall, and like it's crazy for something that didn't really show that much. I felt that though. I was like, oh shit! Like just to watch someone just like fully like collapse like that, and yeah, they didn't have to show like the outcome for me to be like, oh, that's rough.
But I think that the eyes of Pattinson showed the realization of actually everything that he's done.
Yeah, I think it kind of. I got the
Like
impression
that was
watching,
the first time in the entire movie where he's like, "Wow, I know. Like this is I did this."
Yeah, I got the impression I was watching that scene that like the way he looked at that is like,
especially in the back
like,
of the car,
like
too.
maybe like did this go too far now? Like he kind of realized that like,
gosh, like when he's sitting in the back and you're seeing it from like basically behind the bars.
Yeah,
for the first time and for a while,
yeah.
like you're seeing his face where he's just kind of like, wow, like I hurt a lot of people. I hurt.
Yeah,
like,
you can tell.
I am the one who basically got this guy killed.
Yeah.
And then I think he's starting to replay everything that happens, and he's like,
yeah.
wow, like I hurt.
I think he's
people.
I think he's reflecting, including my brother. I think he's reflecting on all of those events at that one, which is a really cool shot and really good acting from Robert Pattinson. Like I think actors can just convey a ton of emotions without saying a word. I think that's a really cool thing, and he actually handled that scene really well, which makes it, which is, you know, from the moment that guy falls and he sees it and he kind of sees the gravity of everything that he's done. And then
I will say though, I thought that for 1 second, like when the cops were like, all units, I thought that Pattinson was going to be like, okay, this is my chance to escape.
He was going to get out the car. Yeah, run away. I kind of thought that too. I was like, it would be pretty on brand for the character though, for sure, if he did it.
Yeah.
But I think he finally.
But I think he accepted it. He accepted.
I think he finally. Yeah, I think he finally saw the gravity of the stuff that he'd done, and like that this was a lot, and which is why I think he ultimately makes the right decision for his brother and like confesses, and you know, what we learn finally letting his brother go. Which, you know, I love. That's why I love how that opening scene where he interrupts that therapy session, and then like where we end up at the end, where that therapist takes him to that class, and he finally has these kind of meaningful interactions with other people who are a little bit like him, and you can tell that like what he really needed was that separation fully from his brother, because his brother wasn't really a good influence in the long run.
Well, one of the things that I think they do really, really well is that I think that the perspective that we get is basically from Connie, from Robert Pattinson's perspective, where it's like he walks into this class towards the end. You automatically kind of think that this guy who's leading him there is condescending.
Right.
It's like, oh, like, hey, here's my friend. It's like, you're not his friend. You're ordered for him to do this. I mean, it's like you're kind of seeing this from Robert Pattinson's perspective,
right?
And seeing where it's like, oh, like, dude, you're treating him like a child. You're treating him like someone who like doesn't deserve this. And then you walk into this class and you're like, oh, like my brother's not like this. My brother's not like this person,
right?
But then you start to see him respond to all of the things that he needs, and like
he needs.
Like, it was
that his brother that his brother couldn't like provide for him at all. Like he couldn't give him that.
Start like, and I will say, like, gosh, those classes, whatever they have, like that's genius. Where it's like, hey, like, I love candy. Let's walk across the room.
Yeah.
Have I ever been in love? Let's go.
Yeah.
I've lied to a family member. Gosh, like they get deep quick.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
we went from
whoa, that's
candy
a
to
left
that.
turn. That was a left turn. But like you could see, like that's what hit a nerve. It's like like his brother still has like a lot of ingenuity and ideas and thought process, but like it's just not all of the same connectors are there. And but to see that he was responding to someone like, oh, I've lied before, or my family fights, and I know that,
that's what he knows.
and to see that other people don't, it's
Right.
like, oh, like why? Like, wait, am I different than that? Like, not every family fights. Like, maybe that's something that's different about me.
Right.
So like to see that, like I think that we got to see that from Pattinson's lens, Connie's lens, where we're like, wow, like he actually does need this. And I think that reflection that we see in Connie's eyes in the back of the cop car kind of realized where it's like, wow, like I am the problem.
I'm the
I'm
problem, and he won't get any better with me in his life, which
I mean, I don't shouldn't be around.
Shouldn't be around at all. And you know what? For how visceral and how fast this movie moves, I did appreciate
only an hour and 30 minutes.
Only an hour and 30 minutes. And
I could not have gone for another 10 minutes.
Yeah, no, not at all. If this was pushing 2 hours, I would have been like, and not in a bad way. It's a really well
nap in between.
I say this as to say the movie does its job. It's a really well-made movie, and the whole point is to make you feel like you've gone through the ringer after watching it. But I do love when movies are like that for most of their runtime, and they decide to end on a completely almost quiet, like intimate moment, and that's what this movie did. It ends like after all this madness, it kind of calms down for a bit to like show you like, okay, this is what his brother needs, and he might be in a good place now because he, is finally being allowed to separate himself from, no matter how much Connie loves him, he wasn't going to be good for him in the long run. So I really appreciate when a movie can slow down, even if it's at the end, to like be like, hey, this is what we got to this point.
I think he even think his brother realizes it too. It's like, I mean, gosh, we didn't even get to see what he went through in jail, where he's just sitting there thinking about it. Like, but I mean, what is he really thinking about? Because when he's robbing the bank, Connie's like, hey, what are you thinking about? Are you okay? He's like, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
I'm wondering what he was really thinking about, like, during that whole time. So like, I think that through this therapy that his brother gets at the very end is to see like, like my brother probably wasn't the best guy. Why am I looking up to him?
Yeah. Agreed.
But it takes his brother confessing and all this stuff to do that for him. So gosh, it's such a good story that just is. It's like 24 hours of fucking balls to the wall.
It really is.
God.
And it's really cool because I don't think you get. It's funny because like you spend all that time with Connie, you don't really get to know a lot about like background and all that. But
none of it. I love that though. I love that.
And, yeah, and I think the cool thing about that too is that it is all laid out there just by Robert Pattinson's performance, rather than like, oh, we need to learn this character's backstory. Like, I felt like I knew the guy without really knowing him. Like, and it's based on like character choices and like, this is how
a college dropout who like was going.
You add your own thing, and they're like, and like he's just watching how his mind works. That's how you get to know who he is. God, like I mean, like
you can see the cogs spinning quickly.
I didn't need any narratives like shifts about like, oh, let's dive deep into like this dude's background.
So this is the one thing when I'm like, oh God, Robert Pattinson's such a great actor. Someone's like, oh, I don't think so. I'm like, yeah, you haven't really seen him act. You haven't really seen him act, because this is such a great, like it is one of the things I love about actors. And if I can tell a good actor is if you can convey not just one, not just two, but like 5 or 6 different emotions within 30 seconds just by looking at me and looking at the camera. God, like
it's amazing.
Like you can see like fear, anger, interest. Like you can see him going from like Oh, opportunity. Oh, I know what I'm doing next. You
Yeah.
could also see just in his eyes and the way that he's interact, like the way that he starts to
Yeah,
act.
I think it's really. I mean, because
God,
of
it's
course,
so good.
because I think we see this sometimes in real life. If you're in a conversation with someone and you think they might be trying to like pull a fast one on you or manipulate you,
Yeah.
if you're smart enough, you can see the wheels turning. So
Mhm.
I think it's interesting when you can watch an actor and you're watching an actor's wheels turn. That's how I felt watching him. Is that in a good way where you're actually watching him like go from like, okay, how do I go from like here to here to here? How do
No,
I
but I
make
can
this
tell a
work?
good actor because I'm watching the character's
It's
wheels turn.
right, yeah, right,
It's not
exactly,
the
yeah,
actor. I'm watching the
and
character's
right,
wheels turn.
and
Yeah.
like we mentioned earlier, he just disappears completely in this part. Like it doesn't. This is
God.
not Robert Pattinson at all. Um, and
And
I
also
think
the
it,
second he dyes his hair, I'm like, this is a different dude than was
dude,
what 30
entirely,
minutes
yeah,
ago.
yeah, and I think now he's completely gotten rid of the whole "oh, you're the guy from Twilight" thing.
I mean,
But
now he's Batman. So
yeah, now he's
I think he's
Batman.
gotten rid of it a little
I
bit.
think it helped that he did some indie movies, and then he worked with Christopher Nolan, and then he got to be Batman. Like people got to see him be Batman, and he was good. I think he's mostly escaped it now. But if there's anyone that's like, yeah, I've only seen him in Twilight, I don't think he's a good actor, then this is a good place to start. I think.
I
Um,
think that this is a perfect definition of like if you've seen an actor and like this is why I think talking about Jeremy Renner is a perfect
yeah,
segue, like what we talked about in the beginning. It's like if you don't think you like an actor in a certain sense, watch him in something else. Because if you don't like him in 4, 5, 6 different movies, that's why I continue to watch Joel Edgerton, man, because he still has some fantastic performances, but he
oh man, I
still
forgot
bothers me.
you
He
yeah you
still
feel you
bothers me.
dude. I think almost since day one of this podcast, like, and
Oh,
I
not
even
since day one, like literally since before day one. Before
before
day
day
one.
one, and I can't. I was like, I didn't know you felt some kind of way about Joel Edgerton. Like, yeah, I mean, but he's a good
But
actor
then I
though.
watched The
I mean,
Gift and I was like, God, he's such a good actor. I was
and then
like,
you
God,
and
he's
then
a good
and by
actor.
the way, when you're watching that, you're like, oh, who do I hate more, him or Jason Bateman? Like they
Oh
both are like,
God, it was and
uh,
I have a thing for Jason Bateman too. Oh my
yeah,
God.
oh,
And
that's
I love that
hilarious.
movie. I love that movie.
Although I love that movie too.
So good.
That might be a future choice down the line. That's a really good movie.
Ooh.
Um, but yeah, I mean, he's really good, and I'm glad. I mean, it's interesting too because Jennifer Lawrence didn't go through this. I mean, I know that I think because she was doing serious movies while also doing Hunger Games and the X-Men movies. Like she also was also acting in like Silver Linings Playbook, and
Well, she
so
started
she
out
was able to
young.
prove.
Think
Yeah,
I think it's different when you start out like and get to fame when you're like 19, 20.
yeah, I agree. And also, I would never hold anything against Robert Pattinson or Kristen Stewart, anyone in Twilight for even accepting those parts because at the end of the day, they made them stars. No matter whether you like the movies or not, they were immensely popular, made a lot of money. I mean,
They got the
critics
role
hated them.
for a reason.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think they get to where they are without those parts and without those
100%.
movies.
100%.
Um, so
And,
it's a
and here's
double.
the thing. Here's the thing that I will say for Robert Pattinson. It's like, no matter what, whenever I see Daniel Radcliffe, I see Harry Potter. To this day.
Yeah, it's been
To this
hard.
day, it's almost impossible for me. But when I see Robert Pattinson, I lose myself into whatever the character that he is in that moment, and I think that that's a testament to the acting that he's done.
And I don't think
So it's
Daniel
like,
Radcliffe.
and maybe it's just the way that Daniel Radcliffe looks. Like I don't
Yeah,
know, like he just
I don't
looks
think
like Harry Potter, and he's doing
and
it
I
for
don't think
10
Daniel
years.
Radcliffe is a bad actor at all. I just think when I
No,
watch him,
he's a fantastic
yeah,
actor.
when I watch him in other movies though, like when I
Amazing
watch,
actor.
like when I watch Now You See Me Too, I'm like, oh, well, if Harry left Hogwarts and ended up here, this is who he'd be.
That's what I'm
Or when
saying.
or when I watched The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum, I was like, all right, well, if
He's just
he
rich
really,
Harry, and like
he's just
he
rich
left,
Harry, yeah,
and yeah.
not a dig at all. He's made some really interesting movie choices himself outside of Harry Potter.
I will say The Woman in Black. That's
Yeah,
a great horror movie.
yeah,
Fantastic.
he's made some really.
I think that like
I mean, he
also
played Weird Al. He played Weird Al. I mean, that's cool too. I mean, like,
yeah,
interesting.
but
Uh,
it's almost impossible for me to like separate him from Harry Potter. Whereas Pattinson, I don't
yeah.
even think about Twilight. At this point, I am so far removed from
No,
that.
I'm
Maybe
so
it's
far removed
because
from it.
so far removed from it that like I think that's a testament to his acting.
Yeah, you haven't gotten there with Kristen Stewart, but with Robert Pattinson, yeah,
Well, that's also just
it's a personality
Kristen
thing. I
Stewart.
think
Yeah.
it's more of a personality thing. Um, But before we get to some fun facts, is there anything you want to say to wrap up your thoughts on the movie?
Um, yeah. It's like this movie is not for the faint of heart. It is like I
Yeah,
highly
I would agree.
suggest you watch it first, and maybe we should put this in front of the episode. But it's like if you haven't seen this, like you should definitely watch it before you listen to the episode. I think.
Yeah,
It's one of those ones where it's like we like us giving you our opinion isn't gonna make the movie any less jarring. Like it's gonna be disturbing. Like the whole thing about it is that it's like it's a wild ride of anxiety, and it really is.
yeah,
And I think that that's what the brothers do. And like I love their directing style. I think it's fantastic. I think it shows character emotion. I think it
yeah,
shows um each individual experience for everything that they're going through, even if they have half a face missing.
yeah,
It really it's crazy to see like everything that they're going through. Like each individual character that you know nothing about their backstory, you can feel their emotion and everything that they're going through. Um, yeah, it's just it's a fantastic movie. I think that it's but it's not something that you can just like turn on just like randomly. Like you gotta watch it.
no,
You got,
I would,
and
yeah,
that's what I love about this podcast is because I feel like we say that all the time. It's like you just gotta sit down and
because
watch it and like
yeah,
listen and like
you
watch
know,
the dialogue, watch with
we
subtitles. Like who
by
knows?
the way, we say this all the time because we make some
Ugh.
pretty fucking offbeat choices for movies to recommend. But you know, I'm gonna say this in advance of uh people even listening to this. Amongst in the little cinephile community where I do G reels and all that. This is a very popular movie in that group of people. They really love this movie, and it's
It's got a
cited at
7.9. It's got a
yeah,
7.4 something
or,
on
yeah, it has a
IMDb.
91% Rotten Tomatoes score. It's pretty well loved by cinephiles a lot. So I think you have another really popular pick on your hands here, especially with the film
So
nerds.
am I winning again?
I think you
Which
might.
one did you win? Did you win the Back to the Blockbuster one or the G-Reels one?
I won the Back to the Blockbuster one, but where I fucking thrive and it's my page, I lost. You won. It's like
Yes.
my fucking page, and they're like, and I was getting messages. I think JC, who's Merc with the movies, he was like, "Oh man, I can't like Dogma's there and like Prisoners. I can't like
I
not pick
can't not
Owen."
vote for him, bro.
Yeah, yeah, but Gaius, you like turn on people to like some really small movies, and that's really cool too. Like, don't get me wrong. He's like trying to explain himself. And I was like, it's
Oh no,
fine.
he's trying to
I
back of his choice.
I had an idea that you were gonna win. I thought you were gonna win both of them, but I was like, no, I got a Nolan movie in there, but like not like a popular one. So I was like, all right, maybe not. Um, but no, that was all in good fun. That was like really. I just thought it was interesting that I lost on my own page, like
Yeah.
my own, like where I'm in charge of it. Like, oh, thanks guys.
Hey, but at the
But
same time, it's like having people message you saying that like this was a hard choice. Dude,
yeah,
this is the whole thing that the podcast is about. Like, you shouldn't have to choose whose is better. Like
yeah, yeah. I mean, we
both
did it
of
as
it.
a fun thing for us. Like, yeah, yeah,
And you know what's funny though? Is because even though people have said that the movies that I've chosen might have been their favorite when they watched it, my
right.
favorite episodes that we've recorded, Igby Goes Down, Mr.
Okay.
Brooks, and gosh,
Better Luck Tomorrow was another good
Better Luck
one.
Tomorrow. That was
Tomorrow was
dude,
another good, yeah.
that might have been my favorite eepisode that we've recorded to this day.
And all for
Like
different reasons too. I mean, they're not for the
all
same. Like
for
the
vastly different reasons.
the the Mr. Brooks one was the good because it was like,
The
oh,
Mr. Brooks one was so
like
fun. It was
like
so fun because we
like
both like I
we got our
hated it. I
we got
hated
our
it. And
first
you were like
disagreement.
trying to defend it. It was so much
Yeah,
fun.
I think one of the funniest messages I got from someone that listened to it was like, dude, that was your pick, but I can feel you gradually change him making you change your mind. Like this isn't as good as you probably thought it was.
I
Like
was
throughout
like,
the entire episode.
like basically, if you can bring it down to one word, the entire thing for me was really,
Yeah, yeah,
really,
like oh
really.
man, and that text, yeah, that was a good one. It's fun. It proves that we don't have to agree on
So it
everything.
was
So
funny.
that
So
was
like,
it.
even though people think that like maybe the movies that I picked were better, just like in terms of popularity or
Yeah.
like just whatever it is, dude, my favorite episodes to record are the ones that you've picked.
Oh well, thank you, man. I appreciate it. And
And
I got
we'll
to re.
figure that out. And we'll figure that out later to all the listeners to our Lost and Found episode
Well,
that
so
is coming
yes,
soon.
yeah, we don't want to
Um,
completely. Yeah, because that was a good one, man. I actually had
It was
there
so
was a
good.
really good one. That was
Such a good episode.
So one,
and it
I
was
think what
lost.
two other people know we recorded that. Like Jackson's one of them, and at the time I was like, hey, when we thought it was coming out, I was like, don't listen to it because if you haven't seen the movie, it'll give everything away. And the other person was like, oh, I would have looked forward to like hearing that. I was like, I know, because like that person was the one that kind of like threw that movie back on my radar, and I was like, oh, that'd be really fun to do. So yes, we will. It will. You'll hear it. It'll just be different, and it'll be fun because we'll approach it differently. Don't want to lose
We're
it
gonna have a
completely.
little lost and found episode, and that's gonna be, like I said, one of my favorite episodes that we've recorded recently. So,
Oh, yep, I agree. And also,
but
I
that's
want to
why
point
I
out
do this, guys, to all the
it's
listeners out there.
it's just
I
fun.
do this because I love Gaius's picks, because he picks movies that I love, that I hate, that I need to see, eventually. And it just, or like he finds whatever it is, like he finds movies that spark a conversation between us that is just absolutely genuine, and it's usually fucking topical. Usually.
Yeah, the one that the other one that I thought I was concerned about too was Disconnect, especially because you watched it with your brother, and I was like, oh man, well, here's a warning, guys, it's a little heavy. But,
yeah, dude,
but yeah,
that was a crazy movie, man.
Yeah, that was like, but I was like, oh, now I got his brother involved. One of his brothers like, what the fuck did you make us watch? It didn't turn out
more Bateman,
more Bateman in our lives. I also want to point out too, the music in this movie is also this score, which is almost like I don't know how to describe the music, but it also intensifies a lot of the scenes too.
It's very EDM.
EDM, and I mean, if the whole like visual aesthetic of the movie wasn't enough to make you feel anxiety, the music kind of builds to a point as well where it also makes you feel that way. So I want to shout out that before we mention some stuff about the film, because like a lot of the films that we have chosen, this was not a huge hit.
Yep.
Yeah, so like most of the movies that we've chosen, this movie was not a huge financial success when it came out. Budget's $4.5 million. It made $2 million in the US and $3.3 million worldwide. But I mean, this is an independent movie.
The thing is, so I'm not surprised though. Like, how do you market this?
Yeah, and like, you know, and they were able to.
How do you really market this movie?
And they were able to go more because Uncut Gems made a significant amount more money than this.
Adam Sandler.
I think Adam Sandler was a big sell, and it was also Adam Sandler like in a dramatic role, so it was like they were able to sell it on that a little bit more than this was. But I don't know. Actually, I mean, I think it'd be hard to promote this to like a mainstream audience.
I don't even know what a commercial would look like.
Like, yeah, I was like, so yeah, because you can look at certain movies and be like, yeah, this.
Do you want your heart rate to be at 145 beats per minute for an hour and 30 minutes?
Yeah, then go see
no.
This. yeah,
I don't think so.
But yeah, I was like, yeah, it'd be a hard one to promote mainstream wise. And there's just certain movies you look at that you're like, oh yeah, that's an independent movie for sure. But I mean, on this show and on the main one, we always shout out A24. I mean, I've rarely seen a movie from that studio that's like not good. So I love that they fully support like independent filmmakers and let them work their magic. I mean, we talked about like I just got Beau is Afraid today. I'm going to try to watch it. We talked about that movie with Ari Aster and how like, some people were upset that A24 gave Ari Aster all that money to make something that, I'm glad that they do that. I'm glad that they are its full support of independent filmmaking. And this is a good example of like, they probably knew that this was not going to make a ton of money, but they're like, hey, like, we believe in these guys and let's put it out there. And
this is their artistic expression.
I mean, they were able to take the movie to the Cannes Film Festival, which is like a big deal. And that's where A24 acquired the rights for it. And like we said, the reviews were mostly good, 91% based on 239 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. The consensus reads, it's a visual treat filled out by consistently stellar work from Robert Pattinson. Good Time is a singularly distinctive crime drama offering far more than the usual genre thrills. I did want to highlight one
because it's not a heist movie, and that's what I'm so happy about. Like,
it has a framework of one, but it's not.
When you give an entire like module on HBO that says crime, I'd say 70% of them are just like people stealing stuff from a bank and that's the whole thing.
Yeah,
This is a crime drama that's not associated with really like the crime itself.
right. I agree. I want to see what you think about this one negative review though. There's actually two, but this one is from Rex Reed of the Observer.
Oh, there's not one. There's
two.
two.
I found two that
There's two negative
well,
reviews.
there's so many good. A lot of people have compared this favorably to Dog Day Afternoon with Al Pacino. They said that Robert Pattinson's character is very reminiscent of that character, which is a big compliment because that's a great movie and one of Al Pacino's like best performances ever. So there's mostly good stuff, but I gotta see if there were any naysayers, and we had some. Rex Reed of the Observer criticized the film, calling it just under 2 hours of pointless toxicity, populated by brainless characters, filled with ludicrous writing and laced with mostly over-the-top acting. He called the characters so he called the characters so contrived that the movie defies even the most basic logic, and wrote that at best it's a frenetic, disjointed, and totally surreal look at people in crisis, seen through the eyes of other people in crisis. It all takes place in one night, but it seems to last for days. That's one review that was negative.
So here's the thing that's crazy is like I understand everything he's saying.
But that's the
I
point,
under
right?
I can see everything that he has to say. Like that makes sense
Yeah.
to me in a sense where it's like you can see that through a certain lens. Like I've felt that, but I liked that. Like that would have been a positive review for me.
Yeah,
Like
because
he
I
could
think
have said those exact he could have said those exact words, but I would
Yeah.
have given it 9.5 out of 10 instead of a 6 or whatever he gave it.
and the thing is, like, it is seen through the eyes, people in crisis, seen through the eyes of people.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
like,
what it is.
I would have said that exact same thing and given it a positive review.
This one, another one from A.O. Scott of the New York Times. He said, sometimes it flaunts its cliches. Nick's disability and Benny Safdie's slack-jawed portrayal of it is a big one. And other times it cloaks them in rough visual textures and jumpy, bumpy camera movements so that a rickety genre thrill ride feels like something daring and new. It isn't. It's stale, empty, and cold. I don't agree with that, but
yeah, so I don't agree with that one either.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like the first bad review is basically a description of how
what the movie is,
of how
Like,
amazing the movie is. This one is just like making fun of their directorial choices and
Yeah.
like the director himself basically portraying a handicapped person where he does nothing. He does
Yeah.
nothing. Like you can't slack-jawed. He doesn't even open his mouth. It's not like he's sitting there.
By the
with his
way,
mouth open.
I just read that. I pulled it up and I forgot about this part of what he said in the review. I actually
I
didn't
think that's pretty discriminating. I think,
and I actually didn't think that he played it in a way that was offensive
all.
either. Like
Never
I
at all.
thought that felt very real, and I felt like, because I think sometimes in movies like this, when you have someone playing someone who's developmentally disabled, it could maybe come off as a caricature a little bit, and I didn't get that vibe here. So I saw something completely different than this guy.
Yeah, it
did.
could be
Like,
Tom Hanks in Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump,
It could be,
Sean Penn and I Am Sam. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, those work. I mean, like, I just think
or it
that,
could
like,
be Simple Jack in,
you
in Tropic
like,
Thunder. It could
Leonardo
go the full way.
Leonardo DiCaprio does it in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, and I think he does a great
Yeah.
job in that movie. Like, I never got that vibe watching it. That I was like, oh, you're kind of playing stereotypes.
I think they actually did a really good portrayal of it, where it's like you actually felt his thoughts more than just like seeing him from the outside. You actually got to see like how he was retaining and processing information.
Right. And there's some interesting facts about this movie. The Safdies hired real cops for the mall chase scene. The crew filmed during regular business hours while the mall was open to the public, so reactions in the final cut are genuine from real customers. Some mall customers even tried to stop the cops from chasing the actors.
No way.
I think that's so cool that they did that. That's awesome. After a while, Robert Pattinson's hair started falling out in chunks due to the many times they bleached it. After dyeing it black first to make him look more like Benny Safdie, who plays his brother, they peroxided it to blonde and had to bleach it back and forth several times until they got all the scenes and the required color. They shot scenes in the bathroom where he actually applies the hair dye in front of the mirror, but the scene didn't make it in the final film because it slowed down the pace of the movie. When shooting Wrapped, he shaved it all off, which led to the mugshot photo of him on TV, which was taken a day after shooting Wrapped. That's crazy. His hair started falling out.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Like he looked
Yeah, it's like
insane
bleach blonde.
in
Yeah,
that
yeah,
mug.
yeah.
He looked insane in that
Yeah,
mug.
he's probably so happy to shave his hair off after all
God.
that. All actors didn't read the script, but were given a detailed backstory of their characters and were told to improvise every scene. While Robert Pattinson and Benny Safdie had scripts, but were still told to react to the others as well as they could, based on what they knew about.
I'm telling you, like that
You
is
can tell
why.
tell that, yeah,
That is why. Like, my God, it feels so realistic.
yeah,
It
I
just
agree
feels
too.
like they're all reacting to the other people as the characters that they're portraying. It's
Yeah,
insane, man.
yeah,
It doesn't feel like here's a scene, here's the line,
like they're
here's
acting.
another
Yeah,
line, here's your reaction, here's a cut
yeah,
scene. Like God, it just feels like people
very
being themselves in a fucked up situation.
very smart choice on their part to do it that way. It
Yeah.
definitely made it more authentic.
I think
To
that's probably what they
achieve
did with if they did
a
that with
lot of
Uncut
stuff.
Gems too, no wonder it got nominated.
I can imagine they probably did that with that because I got that vibe too watching the movie that things didn't feel
I
scripted
can't wait
and
for their
that
next movie.
yeah, yeah, they are definitely like
Give me
ones to
another
watch,
Safdie
continue to watch.
brothers, man. Give me another Safdie.
Yeah. To achieve authenticity and not to draw attention to the shoot, the film locations weren't locked down from the public. Nobody recognized Robert Pattinson, and not a single cell phone picture was taken from pedestrians during the whole shoot. In case they were asked by pedestrians and residents, the crew was told to answer that they were filming for an untitled social work project. They pushed the start of production on purpose to avoid attention. Pattinson also stayed in character off screen to avoid being recognized. He could go unrecognized to such a degree that when they shot the scene towards the end in the security guard's apartment, local residents asked him in the elevator if he was Bradley Cooper's security guard, having heard a movie was being shot starring actor Bradley Cooper. That's great.
Also, he looked like a homeless person.
Yeah, he did actually.
I mean, it's like, I mean,
Uh,
I know I've given my opinion recently here on method acting. That's the best. That's the best type of method acting is to make sure that you keep this shit under wraps. Like that's amazing,
yeah,
especially in New York when there's what 10 million eyes on you.
yeah, that's crazy. The scene where Connie enters the hospital was shot in an active emergency room with real patients. I feel like did they even get permits? I don't think. I feel like they just like were like we're shooting
Was
here.
this movie legal?
Like,
Like,
yeah,
did they actually?
sounds
Was
like they
any
just
of this
like
allowed?
let's just
Was
go to this
any of
hospital
this
real quick.
allowed?
Yeah, during pre-production to try out if the makeup and clothes looked realistic, Pattinson went to shops around New York and interacted with people on the streets. He also spent much time as himself with people from Queens to get the accent right and hung out with recently released prisoners. He would let some read the script out loud so he could record it on his phone and listen to it when he went to sleep. Wow, that's dedication.
Bruh, Pattinson, man.
That is
Pattinson.
real
That is
dedication, dude.
dedicated to the craft.
That is crazy.
That is insane, man. That's one of the coolest facts. I will say that's my favorite fact so far
Yeah,
on
that's
the
crazy.
deep
On this
dive
movie.
episodes. That's my favorite fact is that he
And the fact, like,
X
by the way,
felons to hear
and
Queen's
also
accent so that he
and
could
also
get it
hanging
right.
out, and also hanging out like that because he's like
Hanging out
pretty,
with them.
and then a pretty big star at this point, right? He's internationally known, so this is like
You know they're
That's-
like, yo, you Twilight, right?
like you fucking Edward Cullen. Like, I feel like it's like that.
Oh, I've seen them all. I've seen them all.
You know what's funny is that no joke. I bet people like that group probably did have seen all those Twilight movies. They won't admit it. Eric Roberts originally played the part of the bail bondsman before the scene was reshot with an actual bail bondsman named Eric Pakert. Pakert has been a bondsman for the last 20 years and owns his office in Queens with his wife, Astrid. Initially, he was asked only for the use of the office space. Eventually, the Safdies asked him and his wife to actually play the roles, and they reshot the whole scene with him.
Dude, I'm telling you, you could tell that he has.
And actually,
this
that guy felt like a bail bondsman, though.
Like
Yeah.
you could tell he has this like calm under serious distress sort of kind of person where it's like I've seen worse. I've seen some serious stuff where I've had to calm some people down. Like,
exactly.
listen, I'm getting felons out of prison. Like that's my job. So like I know what I'm doing.
I know what I got. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
The role of Connie
wow,
was
that's a cool fact.
Yeah, the role of Connie was.
This is my favorite.
These are really actually interesting.
Yeah.
The role of Connie was written specifically for Robert Pattinson. So there was no other choice for the part. Robert Pattinson lived in a basement
Does
apartment
that
in
say
Harlem
something about the Safdie brothers? Do you
that they
think
kind of knew. I
that they
think that
saw
like,
it? They saw that.
yeah, that's actually cool. Robert Pattinson lived in a basement apartment in Harlem for pre-production and the entirety of the shoot. According to Josh Safdie, all he did there was eat tuna to drop some weight, keep the shades down all the time, and sleep in the outfits Connie wore. I remember going over to his place and it was just like a bombshell had gone off. And then Robert Pattinson says, I didn't let anybody visit me and I didn't take the trash out or change the sheet. So the entire place just smelled like rotting fish. Jesus. Dedication. Um,
Yeah,
Robert Pattinson.
that's the part of method acting
That you wouldn't like it. Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have to have a sticky apartment,
I
bro.
mean, I get it's part of it, but like, come on, man.
Robert Pattinson's performance in this film is what brought Matt Reeves to want to cast him in the Batman.
Yeah,
That's actually pretty cool.
I could have seen that.
The title "Good Time" is a prison slang. It refers to a reduction in a prisoner's sentence for good behavior. According to the directors, the backstory is that Connie behaved well in prison, got released on his good time, and this is how he spends it. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think of it that way. Oh, well. Because I was like, why did they call the movie that? Yeah,
Whoa.
I never dug deep into like why did they call the movie Good Time. I was like,
Yeah.
wow,
Well, because we've never been to prison. I think that might be
yeah,
why.
that's real. That could be why. So good on us for being
Yeah,
for being
well,
outstanding
you know what? The
citizens.
fact that we didn't know that, Gaius, well done. Well done.
The Safdie brothers found out about being in competition at the Cannes Film Festival with this film because Robert Pattinson texted them a photograph of an electric Japanese toilet. Pattinson first heard the news from the director of the festival, but couldn't call the Safdies because they were in the middle of a meeting, so he sent the picture instead. The Safdies and Pattinson made a bet that if the film makes it into the competition at Cannes, Pattinson would buy them the toilet. It was installed in the office at the Safdie Brothers production company, Alara Pictures, a few weeks later. That's pretty cool.
Weird, but cool.
Yeah. And Josh Safdie, this is him describing the movie. He said, "We want to make a piece of entertainment that has a pulpy feel to it. The movie takes place in only one night. It's a film like a dream, like a nightmare. We want to make it clear where each character was at each moment. I'm so petrified of time and being reminded of time. That's why I don't wear a watch. I like to just keep moving forwards because if you're moving forwards, you can't stop. And then once you stop, you get depressed. That's it for me. That's what I wanted the movie to feel like. And I think it does. I think it feels like that entirely."
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all. Yeah, those were some pretty good. Well, oh, Josh Safdie got arrested during filming for driving with a suspended license in a shady car. Peter Verby, the actor who plays the psychiatrist in the film, is actually a criminal defense lawyer and represented Josh Safdie after shooting Wrapped. He also represented actor Buddy Durst in the past, who got released from prison just weeks before filming started. Buddy is the guy who plays Ray, I guess. That's also a very interesting fun fact to end on with that movie. That the psychiatrist is a lawyer in real life.
That was my favorite fun fact session that we've had on Back to the Blockbuster.
That was interesting, man. Yeah,
that was fantastic.
Because normally I read some of them ahead of time, and I did really with that. I was like, oh, these are actually really good. Because I didn't know anything about the making of this movie, so I was learning this along with you guys, so that was fun for both of us. And we got some questions, and we'll like double up on some because it's been a while. I'll try to make this fast. At Strange Harbors on Twitter for Owen. Do you know what movie you're gonna pick for your next deep dive right away, or do you have to really think about it?
First of all, don't try to get this secret out of me.
Oh yeah,
don't try to get this next one out of me. How dare you guys?
They're like, do you know what you're doing next?
Yeah, come on, guys. I'm gonna give you a good one no matter what. Good Time. I'll give you that one.
There you go.
But no, I definitely take some time to think about it. It gives like I got to think about what mindset I'm in, and I think that like I really take the mood that I'm in into consideration, where it's like, hey, like I love a lot of different genres. I mean, when we talked about it on the 100th episode, yeah, I love Moana. I love the Muppet Christmas Carol. Like, I love that kind of stuff. Like that's my kind of shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like if I'm in a dark sort of like serious mindset, like I'm gonna do, which is also most of the time. So like, yeah. I mean, most of my picks have been like dark, grueling dramas, but
And that's what,
But
and that's kind of what we recommend to each other privately too. I'm like,
yeah,
what should there was one time we were texting.
We love
There was
that
one time we
shit.
were texting each other, and I was like, "What should I watch?" And you're like, "I don't know. Watch something that'll make you cry, bro."
Yeah,
I'm like,
I was
"All
like, oh,
right."
watch like A Star's Born. Like,
Sure,
come on.
so we think alike in
But
that way when it comes to movies.
yeah, so it's like no, I take some serious thought into it because like I want something that just like Gaius and I were talking about. It's like I want something that not only inspires me and has a like actual like instills some emotion in me,
Yeah.
but makes me think that it's going to have a good conversation because it's not necessarily always about the movie. It's always about like what the movie means and what the characters said and what those people have to say to us and what the director meant by the whole movie. So it's like I take that all into consideration. And you know what? I'm going to give that to the fact that I've been doing Back to the Blockbuster for over a year, almost 2 years now, because I used to never think about movies like that.
Yeah,
So
it changes how you think about them a bit.
like to the fact that like we've started this spinoff, like I have taken my picks into consideration because of the fact that Gaius, you and I have been able to talk about movies like this for a long time now. So I
Yeah.
will say that you have inspired me
Oh, thanks,
to
man.
you have inspired me to make some better picks. And it takes me at least, I mean, you text me what, like a day and a half before we were supposed to record. You're like, what's the pick? And I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Like I've been thinking about this for a
Yeah,
while. Here's my
yeah.
pick.
Here's my pick. I was like, oh, okay, because like usually, like he'll just let me know, or if I see him, he'll be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this one. I mean, I understood the one with Jackson because they were trying to keep that a secret for as long as they
Yeah,
could
yeah.
without letting me know. Um, that's interesting too. I know this wasn't the question for me, but we always talk about this where I overthink what I'm going to pick, and then like you're always just like just pick whatever you want because it doesn't matter what you pick. But I always think I want to be like, oh yeah, this one has to be the good one when like it's going to be like the last episode or something.
Yeah.
And it really, yeah, you don't really have to think about like that. Sometimes I do know right away, and then I change my mind, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to do this one next. And
Yeah.
then there's like a whole week where I'm like doing work, and I'm like, oh, another movie pops up. I'm like, oh no, I want to do that one instead.
But
Um,
also like there's sometimes where you want to pick a movie like Shot Caller. I'm like, well, we've already talked about it kind
but
of, so like I'm not gonna pick that, even though I love that movie. Like I
yeah,
like I want to talk about it.
but yeah,
So
but
it's
it's
like,
also been a bit since we watched it, so I mean,
yeah.
it could be totally could be an episode if you ever wanted it to be. So yeah,
Oh, I
I
know,
mean,
but I'm gonna save it for the maybe the 20s, maybe the 30s, maybe we'll wait, maybe we'll make it one then.
one of them. All right, another one for you at Super Slash Bros podcast. You've picked a couple of really good comedic picks with Dogma and Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Will you be picking more comedic films in the future? I guess that's for you. Um,
Yeah.
you know what's
Listen.
interesting? Yeah, those are interesting to deep dive too because I, I'm glad that you picked those movies. Like you haven't picked like straight comedies. Like we haven't done something like Neighbors or something like that. But
I
yeah,
think
they're
dramatic it's always dramatic comedies.
yeah. There's
There's
either
no
like
there's no action
there,
comedy.
there's
It's
like
always
some
dramatic
there's
comedy.
some like satire and like stuff in it. But yeah,
Give me some satire, give me some drama in it, and then I'll pick it.
yeah, I think you're the I think
But at the
I
same
haven't
time, it's like yeah. First of all, fantastic question because I have so many comedies that I love, and I think that comedies are one of like we've talked about on the show before. It's like it's one of the hardest things to get right. Like it is one of the hardest things to understand and to consistently tell jokes for 2 hours that land and people laugh at and make like and be popular and be consistent and be relevant is going to be really
right.
fucking hard. So I think that that's one of the really like a really hard thing to do. But yeah, I'd love to continue to make picks. I already have one in the back pocket that we've maybe mentioned before. So if you want to drop a comment and think that you might know my next pick, then I think I already have it. But it's a good comedy,
See,
and so I'm
see.
gonna keep picking them. I'm just gonna keep picking movies that I love, and I want to keep
Yeah,
sharing
it's
it with
true.
you guys.
And by the way, guys, he even went back to your first question because he said that he might already have his pick already, and like it's not even his turn next. So yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes he knows right away, and sometimes not so
Hmm.
much. I get take some
Yeah.
thought. All right, question for
This one for
me.
you.
at Vintage Video Podcast. You mentioned a movie before that you want to use as a deep dive, but it might not necessarily be a good film. Can you tell us what that movie is? Uh, yeah, I can tell you. Um, I should I? Yeah, oh yeah, I'll tell him. All right. So I was.
Tell us.
It's
Tell
not,
us.
Yeah, I was gonna do "Don't Worry, Darling," and not because I think it's a great movie, but I think because it would spark a really interesting conversation. Because it is a very interesting movie. I don't think the execution was 100% great, but there are some good
Okay.
things about it. Like Florence Pugh was really great in it. And I would also be curious to know what you thought about it. That's why I thought like initially we got asked like a long time ago, would we ever pick a movie that we thought maybe wasn't that good, but it might spark a good discussion.
Yeah, I
And
mean, and we've been talking about that for a while too.
yeah, so I
It's
think
like,
there is
do we pick bad movies too, or do we just
yeah,
pick ones that
but
we think
there
are good?
but there is some like validity to that because I think you can have a really good discussion about a movie that's awful.
Yeah. Oh my
And
God. I mean, Mr. Brooks.
yeah, there you go. Right. So we already had it, kind of. We already had it with Mr. Brooks.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it was going to be that one because I really think it would be an interesting conversation because there's some really intriguing ideas in it, and I didn't hate the movie at all. But if you guys paid attention, it got really mixed reviews from critics when it came out. And then it became known more for like all the behind the scenes, like Olivia Wilde, Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Shia LaBeouf nonsense that was going on while the movie was being made. But I would be very
We can
interested
also
to
talk
hear.
about like "Call Me by Your Name," which is like the Army Hammer.
Yeah,
Like we can even talk about that, which
yeah,
is
the Army
a
Hammer stuff.
good movie, but like,
Yeah, and it's
fuck,
like, do you
like
would you
fuck.
look at would you
Like,
look at
what
it
do we
di-
even say there?
would you look at it differently now? Like, oh, yep, this hasn't aged too well.
Yeah, when there's a cannibal in the cast, like we should probably not want to cover that.
Right, beautiful movie, also shot very well. I know I said that about The Idol, but at
I
least I can
also
actually.
love Timothy Chalamet, and like
Timothy Chalamet is great in that
for his
movie too.
life. I fear
Yeah,
for his life there.
so this whole time he was hanging out with a cannibal and he didn't know it.
He's also like a victim.
All right, at Stevens Sean Ford, Gaius, when are you gonna pick a horror movie? Good God, please do it.
Good
We really
God,
want you.
Gaius,
We really
pick one next, please.
we want you to pick one that will actually scare Owen. I want to know that Owen got really, really scared.
So first of all, listeners, you just want to see me victim like just terrified and super vulnerable. And I respect that. And guess what? I'm looking for it too. So Gaius, when are you gonna do it?
See, but now there's pressure to be like, oh, does it have to be like really scary? Like I have to like really freak you out. See, there's a lot of pressure now. That's why
no, I think the real pressure is you pick one and it doesn't scare me. I think
that's yeah, and then we'll spend the whole fucking episode about how like it wasn't that scary, guys. I don't know. I don't know what you're.
This is what you thought was scary.
Like oh, you've spent all this time. You're a horror movie fan. Yeah, it'd be a lot of that if it's not scary enough.
Yeah.
I'm getting close to it. I've actually asked for some advice on which ones I should pick. It's that I don't want to pick like a slasher movie or something like that. I really want it to be something a bit more visceral and not like just it's not gonna be like Friday the 13th, guys. So I want it to like actually be a good one. But yeah,
Wait, so you've outsourced your own.
No, what I said.
Outsourced your own look to.
So what I did, me. Yeah, I did. What I did, I suggested.
Now I'm not even gonna trust it.
I suggested one to someone that follows G Reels, and their response was, "It's good, but it's too recent." So I was like, "All right, So I didn't pick it.
So which one was it? Sorry, if you're not gonna pick it, then you got to tell me.
I was gonna do Barbarian at one point.
But
it came out like last year. It came out in
I haven't seen
the fall. And I thought it was really good.
But I love Justin Long, and I love
Skarsgård. Bill Skarsgård's in it too.
Nice.
It's good. Yeah, it's a good movie. I think parts of it are scary, but I don't want to like overhype
parts of it. I mean, like parts of it were scary.
They're scary.
But like, honestly, like, it didn't really scare me.
But yeah, the argument was that it was too recent. So maybe I'll use it one day, or I'll really think about what horror movie
so
I could pick.
Can we hear Back to the Blockbuster deep dives? We can't pick recent movies? Of course we can.
Yeah, we could. I mean, it could. I
We just
understood.
have so many movies to pick from that we've just been picking
I
from
also,
one. That
I got understood what they were trying to.
we have a lot of our pockets are deep, so
Yeah,
we're picking from them first.
they're pretty deep. Or they just go all the way back to the early
In
2000s.
terms of pockets, in terms of pockets, Gaius are lined up behind him
Oh yeah,
on his
yeah.
physical wall at this point.
Doesn't even count the 8 hard drives I have with like a bunch of movies I haven't even watched in forever. Like it's ridiculous.
Okay, stop bragging.
Yeah. Braggadocious over here.
Yep.
All right.
We're good.
I'll pick one day. I promise. All right. Question
one day, please soon. Honestly, I'm dying to be scared.
Yeah, that's why there's pressure, man. Because if you're like, "Fuck, that wasn't scary," I'm like, "Man, I tried." At Connor Movies, question for both of us. You guys have really great banter on the podcast. What is it like when you're actually hanging out in person? Pretty much like this.
I will tell you this. Oh, sorry. What was the guy's name again?
Hold on, I'll pull it up again. At Connor Movies.
Connor Movies.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Exactly the same. We talk like this in normal life. Like this is just what we do. And you guys are lucky enough that we record this on a bi-weekly basis. Like I'm telling you, like this is just what we do.
You're lucky we let you into our lives.
No.
No, not like that. We're kidding.
It's just like on a bi-weekly basis, we decide to record what we talk about, and we decide to sit down for over an hour and talk about it. So but this is literally like what we talk about.
It's pretty much like this. I mean, there of course, like with any like friendship, there's like normal life stuff that we don't talk about on here. There's that, but then I've noticed in the last few times we've hung out, and I've actually noticed this a lot. Sometimes we'll like land on the same joke and then laugh like two fucking idiots about it. They probably think like we're the most hilarious people like in the room for a second. But also like
we're the only ones who get it.
Yeah,
and,
so
that's
it's like
pretty normal. Like I feel like we make those same jokes like in real life, where you and I are the only ones who are laughing hysterically,
and everyone's like
at something that no one else gets, and everyone's like, "What the fuck are you guys
talking about?" No. So hey, it's good for us. I don't care.
Listen, this is my life. I'm enjoying it.
But there's a lot of talk like this, a lot of laughter. It's a lot of good times. It's actually a really fun time hanging out in person, and I think it translates onto here as well. Like you said, we have really good banter. So that's a really good question, and appreciate
Fantastic
it.
Question.
So no, we're not faking it.
Thanks, Connor.
We're not faking it just to get through recording for over an hour.
I wouldn't do this with my best friend on a fucking Monday night for 2 hours if it didn't feel real. I'll tell you that.
Right. Hey, this is not movie related, but at Rosa Reviews wants to know from each of us, what kind of music are we into? That's actually a good, like, that's cool that it's like not a movie related question. You want to go?
Okay, I will tell you a couple artists that I'm into right now. Absolutely love the Magic City Hippies right now. They are fantastic. Emotional Oranges are great. So kind of this, like, I'm kind of into this indie pop where my movie taste is sick, dark, and twisted. My music taste is like happy-go-lucky.
Happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, and it's all about it's so like when I listen to music, I'd love to hear some upbeat and good stuff and fantastic stuff. So those are two artists that I highly recommend you guys check out.
Nice. I listen to everything, kind of all over the place.
Come on, bro. That's the biggest
I know. Well,
anyway,
you know what? Okay.
If you listen to everything, give me two artists. Just give me two.
Okay, hold on. I'll be specific about like what kind of like.
Give me two. Give me two.
If I'm writing and doing stuff like that, because I got to get in the zone sometimes, and I'll listen to stuff like that I kind of want to kind of zone out to. I know they're older, but like I listen to a lot of Radiohead when I'm writing. It kind of like just like, especially like OK Computer is probably like the one I go to the most. That has like Karma Police and Paranoid Android and exit music for a film. But like those are like the kind of things I listen to when I'm writing, because kind of gets me in the right headspace for it. Also, I love
you do have specifics. It just
I
do. to call
Yeah,
you
yeah,
out on it.
yeah, oh, yeah. And I love Muse. Muse
Yeah.
is actually a really good band too. Now, it's funny. I never talk about these bands
Everything,
because
man. Everything. I
no,
love everything, dude.
yeah, I like. um, I never talk about Radiohead or Muse because usually I'm in a situation where I'm
Bro,
out.
dude, they're both great, fantastic
Well,
popular artists. Like, why
yeah, and
not?
I'm also like out, not listening to them when I go out. So it's like different music for when like you're going out. Like I'm not gonna like
Listen.
throw on Radiohead at
99% of my friends say that I have terrible music taste because when we're at a party and they're like, put something on, I'm like,
bring the
well,
room down.
it's
Bring the room
not
down.
really what you want to hear.
Bring the room down.
So, let's maybe pass it off.
Yeah. That is an interesting question because I'm glad that you forced me to name two artists because like I usually my go-to answer is I listen to everything, and that's not true because I do listen to a lot
It's not you.
a lot of different
I
stuff.
already know you have stuff that you'd love to listen to.
Listen to it. So pretty eclectic. You know, if I'm at a party, I don't want to hear Radiohead or Muse, but like it's just different vibes.
But that's what you love to listen to by yourself. And
Right?
that's
Like yeah.
That's your music taste.
I think that's the misconception
that to me
about
is your music taste.
I think that's our misconception about like our friends like that know us when we go out because like when I like hop on touch tunes and play stuff when we're out, I'm not listening to that when I'm by myself.
Well,
it's just to like get
here's
other
the thing.
people.
When
party
you're
going.
listening to Janet Jackson and Britney Spears, I know for a fact you are listening to that by yourself because you will send me videos of you listening to fucking Britney Spears on like pre-gaming before you go out on Friday night. So don't you dare tell me that.
Well, okay, guys,
that's not what you listen to.
It'll be like a rotation of YouTube videos.
Yeah,
whatever.
okay. Tell me it's a playlist, and then we'll move on.
But I'm not like sitting there. Usually,
we got to know the real Gaius tonight through his music.
No, oh God! One time I was like, I was listening to like Terrence Blanchard's like, some 25th Hour, like music from 25th Hour, and I put it on my Instagram story, and Owen just messaged me. And you're like, "Oh, are you in your feelings, bro?" And I was like, I like the music,
Yes.
And it was like early in the morning. I was feeling good about going out. It was like pleasant. I don't have to explain myself to any of you. That was really good questions, guys. Thank you, and thank you for outing me for listening to Britney Spears and Janet Jackson when I'm by myself.
That's what you gotta do. That's what you gotta do.
Oh man. Well, this has been a fun episode. I actually missed well, I guess I didn't really miss it. We actually did do it, but I'm glad I'm glad that we got one completed and I'm looking at it and it's all recorded and it's all good. And we're not gonna have any mistakes on this one. So very happy for that because I'm really happy for you guys to listen to this episode and for those that missed the deep dives because it's been a month since we released the last one. Sorry about that.
Last episode. This is coming to you guys on Friday.
On Friday, you'll hear it fresh on Friday, and a good pick for this one as well. So
thanks, man.
As always, you get to sign us on off.
Well, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for first of all waiting for us for another episode of Back to the Blockbuster presents Deep Dives with Owen and Gaius. You can listen to us anywhere that you want to find podcasts. If you guys like podcasts, check us out. I think Apple Podcasts continues to be the one that is the number one seller. I think that's the biggest one. And I don't know if this is able to be disclosed, but we've had a lot of people that like to download us. So continue to download, continue to listen, continue to want to get to know our content. Good Pods, they have been absolutely the biggest supporter of us. And we love every single other podcast on that platform because they've been so collaborative as well. I mean, I like to listen on Spotify, but that's past for me. I listen on Good Pods now. Okay. So that's the way that I like to listen to it. Playlist has been a absolute best partner of ours, and without them we would not be where we are. So I just want to give a big shout out to them, and keep listening because we got so much more content. I'm sorry that we took a little break, but it gave us a chance to give a little hidden treasure. So we have a chance for to turn that into some gold and turn it to a positive. So we're gonna keep giving you guys content. We have, I mean, there's probably over 100,000 movies out there, so we got some time to go. We got a few more weeks that we can do this. So We're going to keep doing this and giving you guys what you want to hear. But first, what we're going to do is pick our favorites. And that's what we've done so far. So can't wait for you guys to keep listening and tune in a couple weeks when it is my best friend, Gaius' pick.
Finally. Thank you guys for listening again. I'm gonna to also point out the good pod stuff, because even when we're not number one on the film review chart on good pods, we've been hovering in like the top 5 on the film review chart consistently for a while now, surrounded by other very good shows. We just kind of alternate sometimes with like the So Wizard podcast, and then Antonio's the Cult Worthy. Like we keep switching spots. Like one week they're number one, and the next week we're number one, and then like, it keeps switching. But I think it's just a testament of the quality of this show, and then all of their shows too that are kind of surrounding ours. That's why I like Good Pods a lot, because it really is giving a lot of independent podcasters a chance to get noticed. So that's a really cool thing I like about that platform. And they posted on their Twitter today, like, we're giving you guys a chance to be noticed amongst shows that have insanely bigger budgets. So like this is a way for your indie show to compete with those bigger shows and find a way to like kind of monopolize on that. So that's why I like Good Pods. They're there for the little guy, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate all the love. I mean, all the love we're getting from everywhere, but like it feels really good to come from that platform, because you could tell that it's other shows, other independent podcasts too, that are also helping us maintain that kind of stability on there. Like we haven't really fallen off since. So I appreciate it.
I mean, it feels like we kind of came up together. So it feels good to be a part of it and to promote them at the same time, and to know that we are we're loved and we're supporting everyone else on that platform as well.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And so until next time, guys, it's been a pleasure, Owen, as always. Thank you for making this a fun episode with a good pick. I'm already got to think about what I'm going to do next. Wheels are turning. We'll see what happens.
Give me 2 weeks. I'll give you a judge.
Maybe a horror movie. I don't know. I'll think about it.
Might be. Scare me. Scare me.
I'll scare you. But until next time, guys, peace out.